The dagger in her hand turned into a dagger and fiercely pierced into the snake's body. Ah! With its lifeline injured, the snake's body bent like a bow. Sima Yue clamped the snake between her legs, held the dagger with both hands, and stabbed the rest of the dagger into the snake's body. Then she pulled the dagger down forcefully, and a wound that was tens of centimeters long appeared on the snake's back. The snake was dancing on the ground. Sima Yue, who had used up all her strength, was thrown out violently. She fell to the ground and stopped moving. Yue! Yue! Bei Gong Tang and the others were stunned by the sudden turn of events. When they saw Sima Yue lying motionless on the ground, they shouted anxiously. Hiss! Oh! The snake was still dancing on the ground, but its movements were gradually decreasing. Finally, it laid on the ground and stopped moving. Yue, are you all right? Bei Gong Tang looked at the motionless figure on the ground and her eyes turned red for the first time since they met. But no matter how much they called out, Sima Yue did not respond at all. Yue, respond. Fatty Chu cried as he looked at Sima Yue. He could not wait to run over. No way, Yue would not die like this. Wei Ziqi shook his head and muttered. Why are you panicking? Yaguang is still breathing. This means that Yue is still alive. At the crucial moment, Ouyang Fei still had a trace of rationality. Seeing Yaguang under Fatty Chu, he reminded them. Is she okay? Fatty Chu looked coldly at Ouyang Fei. Feeling the breathing under his body, his heart finally calmed down. Fighting with a holy beast-ranked snake and seeing her on the ground, it was no wonder that everyone thought she was dead. Cough cough, after a while a light cough was heard. To the four of them it was like the sound of nature. Yue, how are you? Sima Yue moved her body. Her whole body was in pain. With a thought, a pill appeared in her hand. She swallowed the pill with much difficulty before turning her head to face Wei Ziqi and the rest. I'm fine. Seeing Sima Yue's tired but bright eyes, the four of them finally relaxed. As long as she was alive, she would be fine. After resting for more than an hour, Wei Ziqi and the rest felt their strength returning. Ouyang Fei was the first to regain consciousness. He slowly struggled to get up and walked shakily to Sima Yue's side, reaching out to hug Sima Yue. Sima Yue's body moved and she gasped in pain. Where are you in pain? Ouyang Fei saw that Sima Yue was in pain and did not dare to move. He hugged Sima Yue and sat on the ground. Cough cough, I don't think many of my ribs are in good condition. The other parts of my body are also injured quite badly. Sima Yue said. Ouyang Fei supported Sima Yue with one hand. With a thought, a pill appeared in his hand. Fourth-ranked pill? Sima Yue looked at the pill in Ouyang Fei's hand and was extremely shocked. How did he have such a precious pill? Ouyang Fei did not say anything and directly fed the pill to Sima Yue, not allowing her to reject. Wei Ziqi and the rest had also regained their strength. He came to Bei Gong Tang's side and asked, How are you? I'm fine. It's just that my leg is broken and I can't walk. Bei Gong Tang said. Wei Ziqi pulled open Bei Gong Tang's pants and saw that her leg was swollen. I'll find a rod to tie it up for you. Fatty Chu said as he crawled up. Fatty, wait a moment. Sima Yue leaned into Ouyang Fei's embrace and said, Let's leave this place first. It'll be troublesome if we attract other spirit beasts. Right, let's leave this place first. Wei Ziqi said, Bei Gong, I'll carry you. I'll bandage you later. Bei Gong Tang nodded. At this moment she did not care about the difference between men and women. Sima Yue called Yaguang back and called Little Roar out to make him bigger. You, how did you get hurt so badly? Little Roar saw the injuries on Sima Yue's body and said with a sobbing tone, It's all Little Roar's fault. He dropped the ball at the most crucial moment. I don't blame you. Become a little bigger. You have to be big enough for 10 people. Sima Yue said as she shook her head. Okay. Little Roar's body shook and became even bigger. It was not a problem for 10 people to lie on top of him. Yue, why do you need space for 10 people? Fatty Chu did not understand. Sima Yue looked into the distance and her eyes flashed coldly, because we need to bring a few enemies with us. Chapter 91. The person who lured us here? Fatty Chu asked. Yes. They have already been drugged by me and are lying there. Sima Yue said. Yue, not only did you appear to save us, you even captured those people. I really admire you. Fatty Chu said. Let's go. We'll bring those people along and leave this place. Ouyang Fei carried Sima Yue onto Little Roar's back and said to Fatty Chu, who was still below. Yes. Fatty Chu turned around and ran towards where the few of them were. Indeed, he saw the few of them lying on the ground. He took out a rope and tied them all up before throwing them onto Little Roar's back. After waiting for Fatty Chu to sit down, Little Roar brought everyone out of the place. An hour later, Little Roar found a cave and brought Sima Yue and the rest in. This place is not bad. Let's recuperate here. Sima Yue looked around and said. Fatty Chu was the first to jump down. He grabbed the 5 people, one in each hand, and casually threw them to the ground. After that, he cooperated with Wei Ziqi and Ouyang Fei to help Bei Gong Tang and Sima Yue down. Sima Yue took out her own big bed as a place for her and Bei Gong Tang to recuperate. Wei Ziqi and Ouyang Fei carried the 2 of them onto the bed. Ziqi, I can't move right now. Let me talk to you. Help Bei Gong connect his bones first. Sima Yue said. Yue, you know how to set bones? Fatty Chu looked at Sima Yue in astonishment. Based on my previous experience, Sima Yue said, and 2 wooden boards appeared in her hands. Fix it with this after you're done. And you tell me I'll do it. Wei Ziqi took the wooden board and said. After that, Sima Yue instructed Wei Ziqi to fix Bei Gong Tang's leg. After that, she asked them to go out and take off their clothes so that Bei Gong Tang could fix her bones. Outside the cave, Fatty Chu and the rest finally remembered the secret they had discovered today. Yue is really a girl? Fatty Chu still hadn't completely accepted this fact. If other people knew that Yue is a girl, the entire capital would be shocked. Wei Ziqi and the rest were also unsure. They had always thought that Sima Yue was a man. Now that she was a woman, they needed time to digest this fact. Since the people of the general's residence have always let her disguise as a man, there must be some secret. I think it's better if we don't tell anyone, Ouyang Fei said. I think so too. Wei Ziqi said, for over 10 years, no one has known that Yue is a girl. It can be seen that the general's residence has kept this matter a secret. If Yue wanted others to know, she would naturally say it. Since she didn't say it, there must be some unavoidable reason. You're right. We shouldn't say it out in case it brings trouble to her. Fatty Chu nodded in agreement. However, Yue is already a 5th-level spirit master. Which is really surprising. Indeed. Ouyang Fei nodded. The few of them chatted at the entrance of the cave. After a while, Bei Gong Tang informed them that everything was done and they could go in. Fatty Chu and the rest went in and saw Sima Yue lying on the bed. Her right cheek had been scratched by a rock during the fight and there was a long cut. After the blood was cleaned, it looked even more striking. Yue, your injury? Wei Ziqi asked. It's fine. I'll be fine after lying down for 2 days. Sima Yue said. I'm saying the injury on your face. Will it leave a scar? Wei Ziqi said. If it was a guy, it wouldn't matter. However, the female lead paid more attention to her appearance. If her face was ruined, it would be the same as crippling her strength. Sima Yue blinked her eyes and understood Wei Ziqi's words. She said, it's fine. When we get back, I'll make some scar removal ointment and apply it for a period of time. That's good. After Wei Ziqi finished speaking, the atmosphere in the cave became a little awkward. What's wrong with you guys? Sima Yue saw that the few of them were looking at her strangely and felt a little scared. Cough cough. Yue, we suddenly found out that you were a girl. We haven't recovered yet. Fatty Chu said, but then again, if it weren't for what happened today, we wouldn't have found out that you were a girl. How did you dress up as a guy? Don't tell me it's the airport you mentioned before? Cough cough. How could I be an airport? Sima Yue almost choked on Fatty Chu's words. The last time when they were looking at beauties, she had mentioned an airport. She didn't think that this guy would remember it. If you're not an airport, then why didn't we notice that you had this thing? After he finished speaking, Fatty Chu rubbed his chest. His action was rather wretched. *CKU Fatty? Sima Yue shouted. Because she used too much strength, it affected the injuries on her body. She was in so much pain that she sucked in a breath of cold air. Be careful. Bei Gong Tang sat by the bed and stretched out her hand to press down on Sima Yue. She then turned around and scolded, Fatty Yue's body is full of injuries right now. There aren't many bones in her body that are in good condition. You're still provoking her. I'm just speaking the truth. Fatty Chu shrunk his neck, feeling wronged. He was just curious. How did this Sima Yue escape their sharp eyes? We're also rather curious. Wei Ziqi said as he sized up Sima Yue. Ouyang Fei stared at Sima Yue. His meaning was self-evident. Cough cough Yue, why don't you tell them? Otherwise they'll keep staring at you. Bei Gong Tang said. She would not say that she was actually very curious as well. Sima Yue helplessly rolled her eyes, saying, If I don't say it, you guys probably won't give up. If those D*MN people think that I'm an airport, then it'll affect my image too much. It's this illusion ring on my hand. As long as I wear it, you guys will see my body as a man. After she finished speaking, she even took off the illusion ring. Her body seemed to have changed in an instant. Wei Ziqi and the others did not expect that Sima Yue would take off the illusion ring directly. A man immediately turned into a woman wearing a ***. Everyone was shocked. Sima Yue quickly put on the illusion ring again. The woman's body disappeared. In everyone's eyes, she was still dressed as a man. It was as if the woman just now did not exist. It's too magical. Fatty Chu cried out in surprise. There's actually a ring like this in this world. I thought that there were only interspatial rings. It's really magical. Wei Ziqi said, where did you get this ring from? If there's a chance, let's go get one and wear it. Hearing this, Sima Yue was stunned. Wu Lingyu's figure flashed past her eyes. She also remembered that forceful kiss before he left. She did not know what that bad guy who was shouting for her to grow up quickly was doing now. Had he already forgotten about her? In a faraway palace, Wu Lingyu, who was reading a book, suddenly felt something. He looked out of the window as if he had sensed something. Little guy, you have to grow up quickly. Chapter 92. Yue, you're clearly a girl. Why did you dress up as a man? Fatty Chu asked. Sima Yuming pursed his lips, saying, I don't know either. Grandfather made me do this. He didn't tell me why. Don't worry, we've already discussed it. We won't tell anyone about you. The fact that you're a woman will never spread from our mouths. Yes, I know you won't. Sima Yue was certain that if they had such thoughts, she would not have saved them. Ugh. A murmur from the wall reminded Sima Yue of their presence. Who are these people? Why do they want to harm us? Wei Ziqi looked at the few people who had been thrown to the side and asked with a frown. Look at the person on the far right. Sima Yue said. The person on the far right? When that person was thrown down by Fatty Chu, his body was facing the wall, so no one noticed him. Hearing Sima Yue's words, Fatty Chu ran over and kicked that person, making him face upwards. It's him? Fatty Chu cried out in surprise. Fatty, you know him? Wei Ziqi asked. Not only do I know him, you guys know him as well. Fatty Chu moved to the side, allowing Wei Ziqi and the rest to see the face on the ground. It's him? How could it be him? Could it be? Seeing that person, the three of them were indeed surprised. They immediately thought of the incident with the wolf pack. At that time, they all felt that something was amiss. Now, it seemed that they had deliberately attracted the wolf pack. They actually tried to kill us again and again. Wei Ziqi clenched his fists tightly. His good upbringing prevented him from immediately rushing up to kill them. Who are these people? Why do you want to kill us? Ouyang Fei was puzzled. I think I know the reason. Fatty Chu said. You know? Bei Gong Tang looked at Fatty Chu. How did he know? Fatty Chu came to the side of that person and kicked him. He looked at that person's face and said, I know this guy. He's 1 year higher than us. People call him Skinny Monkey. So you're saying that these people are all from the sect? Wei Ziqi asked. Fatty Chu nodded, saying, this Skinny Monkey is Takeda's follower. I heard that Takeda is madly infatuated with Nalan Lan. So you're saying that they want to harm us because they want to take revenge for Nalan Lan because I chased her out of the sect? Sima Yu said, speaking of which, I've implicated you all. Yue, don't say that. We're a team. There's no such thing as you not. If it weren't for you, we wouldn't have become food. Wei Ziqi said. Calm Yue. Since we know they're now, how should we deal with these people? Everyone fell silent at the mention of this. Since these people wanted to kill them, there was no need for them to spare their lives. However, now that he knew that they were from the academy's rules stated that they were not allowed to harm other students. Otherwise they would be expelled. This greatly restricted their actions. Everyone turned their gaze to Sima Yue. Since they came because of her, she had the right to speak. Sima Yue smiled and said, I don't know any of these people. Since we met someone in Puluo Mountain Range who wanted to kill us, we naturally had to retaliate. We don't know who they are either, right? Hearing Sima Yue say this, everyone was stunned. Yes, we don't know any of these people. We don't even know which power they're from. We also don't know why they want to harm us. Bei Gong Tang was the first to react and replied Sima Yue. There were so many people coming and going in Puluo Mountain Range. If they met someone who wanted to kill them, they would definitely retaliate. If they accidentally killed them, it would have nothing to do with the sect. After all, they didn't know their identities beforehand. Yes, we don't know them. Wei Ziqi nodded his head with certainty. Since that's the case, what should we do with these people who we don't know and want to kill us? Ouyang Fei asked. Sima Yue heard everyone say this and laughed in her heart. These guys were actually quite black-bellied. No matter what we do, we can't let them leave this mountain range alive. Bei Gongtang said, if there's no other way, I don't mind ending their lives personally. Why dirty our hands? Sima Yue said, since they know how to use spirit beasts to deal with us, we have to give them a taste of their own medicine. Yue, do you have any good ideas? Seeing Sima Yue's bright eyes, Fatty Chu knew that she didn't have any good ideas. This you'll know when the time comes. Sima Yue didn't say anything and only smiled mysteriously. When the others saw this, they knew that she had an idea and didn't ask any more. That Yue? After saying this, Bei Gongtang looked at Sima Yue and hesitated. Sima Yue immediately understood what she meant, and with a thought, a golden snake fruit appeared in her hand. She handed the golden snake fruit over and said, keep this first. The golden snake fruit can't be left outside for too long. Be careful not to attract spirit beasts. It really is the golden snake fruit. Fatty Chu looked at the golden fruit in surprise. Yue, how did you get it? Don't ask about this. Sima Yue stuffed the golden snake fruit into Bei Gongtang's hands, and Bei Gongtang kept it in her interspatial ring. Yue, thank you. Although Sima Yue didn't say it, they all knew that it wasn't easy. After all, there were so many spirit beasts and powers that were coveting this thing. Sima Yue looked at the other three and said, you all have a share too. However, if you let a person consume this golden snake fruit directly, the power will be too violent and the human body won't be able to handle it. I know a pill master who can refine it into pills. Do you all want the fruit or the pills now? Fatty Chu and the others thought for a while and said, since this fruit isn't suitable for humans to consume directly, I'll take the pills. I want the pills too. Wei Ziqi said. Ouyang Fei was silent for a while and said, I want the fruit. Sima Yue didn't ask why and took a fruit and handed it to Ouyang Fei. He took the fruit and kept it. Previously she said that as long as they helped Bei Gongtang scatter that thing on the Nalan clan's people, she would share it with them. So they could have whatever they wanted. In any case, she had received the golden snake fruit tree. To her soul that was damaged, it was the greatest treasure. Furthermore, Little Spirit had just told her that it could create a space and speed up the flow of time there, reducing the time it took for the golden snake fruit to ripen. Who knows, she might have the golden snake fruit again soon. As for the pills, Mo Sha could help her settle it. She only needed to inject spiritual energy when she was condensing the pills. Seeing that Sima Yue was so generous, the other four people were very touched and the team became even more cohesive. Chapter 93. Fatty, Ziqi, your pills will probably take some time to finish. Sima Yue said. It's alright, we're not in a hurry right now. Fatty Chu said. In their hearts, they didn't help much in this matter. Being able to get some rewards was already an unexpected surprise. If they could really obtain a pill that could increase their strength, it wouldn't be a problem to wait for a while. Oh right, Yu, what did you want us to throw at the Nalan clan? Bei Gongtang asked. Knockout powder, Sima Yue said. Once the smell is on your body, you can't wash it off even if you wash it off. What does it do? Ouyang Fei asked. Well, you'll know after we've recovered. Sima Yue smiled evilly. Since the people of the Nalan family went back to find trouble with the Sima family, then let them not go out. Alright, Yue is injured and can't talk too much. Everyone is tired, so let's rest. Ouyang Fei said. Yes. Because Sima Yue and Bei Gongtang were sleeping on the bed, Ouyang Fei and the rest could only find a place to rest in the cave. They did not have a big bed, but they had brought along chairs and other things. The cave quickly quieted down. Due to the events of the day, everyone was very tired and quickly fell asleep. Sima Yue looked at Ouyang Fei's side profile and was confused. There weren't many grade 4 pills in the entire Dongqin country. He said that he was an orphan, so how could he have such a precious pill? And no matter how she looked at him, she felt that he was not an ordinary person. Although she had doubts in her heart, she didn't say anything. Just like how she had so many secrets who didn't have things that others didn't want to know. The night passed quickly. The pills in Sima Yue's body took effect quickly. Coupled with her special physique, she was able to get out of bed and walk the next morning. Wow, Yue, your recovery ability is amazing. Seeing Sima Yue's appearance, everyone was so shocked that their jaws dropped. It's Ouyang's elixir pill that's effective. Sima Yue pushed all the blame to the elixir pill. How is Bei Gong? Ouyang Fei did not continue the topic of pills, but turned to ask Bei Gong Tang. Other than my legs still hurting a little, everything else is fine. Bei Gong Tang said with a smile. The pill that Sima Yue gave her wasn't of a high grade, but she wasn't seriously injured, so it wasn't a big deal. Let's rest for another day and do other things tomorrow. Wei Ziqi looked at the few people by the wall and said. The matter he was talking about was naturally dealing with these people. You two rest first. We'll go find something to eat. Ouyang Fei said. No need, I have it. Sima Yue said. Then let's go get some water. Me too. Sima Yue said. Where is the firewood? Sima Yue wanted to say that she did, but she didn't want everyone to think that she was an omnipotent Doryman, so she smiled and shook her head. Then let's go find some firewood. Ouyang Fei said as he went out. We'll be nearby. If anything happens, just shout and we'll be able to rush back. After speaking, Wei Ziqi and Fatty Chu also went out. What's up with them? Sima Yue looked at the three of them rushing out and looked at Bei Gong Tang puzzled. Cough cough, I think it's something that's not convenient to talk about. Bei Gong Tang said. Something that's not convenient to talk about? Then it's convenient? Sima Yue nodded her head in understanding. Humans have 3 needs. What's so difficult to talk about? Sima Yue despised the 3 of them in her heart. However, she didn't think that they would say such things in front of her when she was a guy. Now that she was a girl, they felt embarrassed. Bei Gong, we've already gotten the golden snake fruit. You should quickly let your contracted beast eat it. Sima Yue said. Bei Gong Tang nodded. With a thought, a green bird appeared in the cave. This is Qing Wan? Sima Yue looked at the transformed Meng Ji and asked in shock. Qing Wan belonged to the Phoenix clan. Her teacher had said that there were no phoenixes in the Yilin continent. However, Bei Gong Tang had actually contracted a Qing Wan. Did that mean that she wasn't from this continent? Bei Gong Tang turned a blind eye to the shock in Sima Yu's eyes and the understanding that followed. She knew that Sima Yu would know something when she saw Meng Ji, but she also believed that Sima Yu wouldn't say anything. Meng Ji, Meng Ji. Bei Gong Tang called out a few times and Meng Ji slowly opened its eyes. Master. Meng Ji's voice was a little weak. It seemed that her injuries weren't light. Thinking that Bei Gong Tang wouldn't call out to her for no reason, her eyes lit up. Master, you called me out. Could it be? Bei Gong Tang smiled as she took out the golden snake fruit and placed it in front of Meng Ji's mouth, saying, This golden snake fruit was snatched by Yue. We have to thank her. Meng Ji looked at Sima Yue, who was lying on the bed, and said gratefully, Thank you. Sima Yue waved her hand, saying, Your master has already promised to give her body to me. You don't have to thank me. Meng Ji heard and looked anxiously at Bei Gong Tang, saying, Master, how can you do this? If you have to use your life's happiness to exchange for this, Meng Ji would rather not. Seeing Meng Ji's reaction, Sima Yue laughed out loud. Meng Ji, Yue is just joking with you. Bei Gong Tang said with a smile, She's a girl. How can I give my life to her? All right. This golden snake fruit will attract spirit beasts if it's left outside for too long. Quickly eat it and go back to heal your injuries. Master, is she really a girl? Meng Ji looked at Sima Yue suspiciously. Why couldn't she tell that Sima Yue was a girl at all? She didn't even smell like one. Alright, quickly eat it and go back. Sima Yue said, Not only is your body injured, even your soul is not lightly injured. That's why you haven't recovered after so long. Aside from increasing your strength, this golden snake fruit can also heal your soul. Why aren't you going back to heal? Meng Ji was extremely shocked. How did she know that her soul was injured? Even Bei Gong Tang didn't know about this. Your soul is injured? No wonder your injuries haven't healed after so long. Bei Gong Tang said. Since it's like this, I'll go back first. Meng Ji saw Bei Gong Tang's questioning gaze and returned to the contract space with the golden snake fruit in her mouth. Seeing Bei Gong Tang's anxious look, Sima Yue smiled, saying, She didn't want to tell you because she was afraid that you would be worried. Anyway, with the golden snake fruit, I believe that she will be fine very quickly. You don't have to worry. Yue, how did you know that Meng Ji's soul was injured? Bei Gong Tang asked. Because I have the fiery eyes of truth. Sima Yue said with a smile. She wouldn't say that it was Mo Sha who told her, so she could only change the topic and ask, Oh right, why aren't those 3 guys back yet? Just as she finished speaking, she heard the sound of footsteps. That sound was clearly coming from the direction of the cave. However, it wasn't the 3 of them. There were a few more people. Bei Gongtang also heard that the footsteps weren't right. The two of them looked at the entrance of the cave vigilantly. Chapter 94. The footsteps were getting closer and closer. Sima Yue had already taken out a handful of medicinal powder and placed it in Bei Gongtang's hands. The two of them were still injured and their fighting strength had decreased a lot. If they really encountered bad people, they could still save them for a while. The cave that Little Roar had found could be considered hidden, but the sound of footsteps could be heard coming towards the cave. He did not hear Ouyang Fei and the others' cries for help, which meant that the person who came was much stronger than them. That was why they did not even have the time to call for help. Right now, it had only been 2 days since the incident with the golden snake fruit. Perhaps there were some powers that had yet to leave and were wandering around the mountains, coincidentally meeting Fatty Chu and the others. Just as the two of them were guessing, those people finally arrived at the cave. We're back. Fatty Chu's round body appeared at the entrance of the cave, followed by Ouyang Fei and Wei Ziqi. Seeing that the three of them had no external injuries, the two of them relaxed and asked, "Are you guys all right?" Before Fatty Chu could finish his sentence, he was lifted up from behind and placed aside. Following that, a few unexpected figures appeared in front of Sima Yue, causing her to cry out involuntarily, "Third brother, fourth brother? Why are you here? Fifth brother, I heard that you were injured? Quick, let third bro take a look." Sima Yu ran quickly came to Sima Yue's side. He wanted to touch her but was afraid of hurting her. "Third bro, I'm fine now." Sima Yue grabbed Sima Yuran's hand and tried to calm him down. "Fifth bro, what happened? How did you get injured so badly?" Sima Yulu walked over, his eyes filled with worry and anger. "I'll tell you later." Sima Yue said, "You haven't answered me yet. Why are you here?" "We're here to gain experience." Sima Yulu said, "It just so happens that both of our teams are going to Puluo Mountain Range, so we'll go together." It was only then that Sima Yue realized that apart from the two of them, there were a few other people standing outside the cave. It looked like they were Sima Yuran's classmates. "Alright, now tell me, how did you get injured?" Sima Yuran looked at Sima Yue saying, "That brat Chu just said that all the bones in your body were broken yesterday. How did you get injured so badly?" This fatty Chu, didn't he know that their family's brothers were all brother-obsessed? He even dared to tell them that all the bones in his body were broken. Sima Yue glared fiercely at Fatty Chu, then looked at the 5 people who were still unconscious and said, "It's them. They lured us into the territory of the ferocious beasts. You don't know how many wolves there were, they scared us to death." "Is these people?" Sima Yuran looked coldly at these people as if they were already a pile of corpses. "Yes, that's them," Sima Yue said. "I'm going to kill them." Sima Yulu stood up and took out his sword to kill those people. Fourth brother, calm down." Sima Yu pulled on Sima Yulu saying, "These 5 people cannot die in our hands." "What?" Everyone was puzzled. "Because they are from the sect." Sima Yu explained what had happened, but she did not mention the snake incident. Instead, she said that the wolf pack incident was related to this incident. Too despicable. Sima Yulu angrily went up and kicked those people a few times. "Then what do you plan to do?" Sima Yuran naturally noticed the loopholes in Sima Yu's words. For example, why did they capture these people, why did only she and Bei Gongtang get injured and so on? However, since there were outsiders present, he did not expose her and went along with her words. "Of course, we'll give them a taste of their own medicine." Sima Yue said, "They threw us into the wolf pack so we can let them experience the same thing. We're lucky to have survived, but whether or not they can survive will depend on their own abilities. Brothers and sisters, you won't reveal this matter, right? Puluo Mountain Range has always been a place where spirit beasts run rampant. Encountering a few spirit beasts is a normal thing." A girl wearing a red robe said. "That's right." The others agreed. Seeing the anger in their eyes, they must be disgusted by the shameless actions of these people. "Since you want to do this, then do it." Sima Yuran ruffled Sima Yue's hair, messing it up. Sima Yue slapped his hand away saying, "Third brother, fourth brother, are you here to complete a mission? We've already completed our mission and will return tomorrow. You can go ahead and complete your mission first. Don't think of chasing us away." Sima Yuran said, "We've already completed our mission last night and are preparing to return. We can wait for you to recover before we leave." "Ah, that's not good. We can't let the other brothers and sisters wait," Sima Yue said. "No problem, 1 or 2 more days won't matter," those people said. Sima Yue could tell that her two brothers were the core members of these two teams. If they said that they would not leave, the others would not say anything. All right. She buried her head in the pillow. It seemed that they would not leave on their own. Those people knew that Sima Yue and her two brothers had just met and definitely had something to say, so they all left. Even Bei Gong Tang found an excuse to get Ouyang Fei and the others to bring her out. Seeing that there was no one in the cave, Sima Yue asked, "Tell me what happened to your injury? I knew I couldn't hide it from you." Look at fourth brother, he didn't find anything wrong. Sima Yue said with pursed lips. You're still talking. Sima Yue slapped Sima Yue's head. If it weren't for them, I would have slapped you twice. You even lied to your brothers. I didn't lie to you guys on purpose. Sima Yue looked at Sima Yue pitifully, hoping that he would speak up for her. However, Sima Yue did not stand on her side this time. He turned his head to the side and refused to look at her. Alright, tell me honestly. What happened to your injury? Sima Yue said with a straight face. Alright. Sima Yue told them about the wolf pack and the snake incident. After that, she looked at Sima Yue and the others with grievance. Your teammates were there just now. I couldn't let them know that I was a girl, so I could only make it up. Furthermore, this isn't considered making it up. The wolf pack incident was indeed caused by them. These people. Sima Yue clenched his fists so tightly that his knuckles turned white. It was only then that he resisted the urge to kill them. So you're saying that your teammates all know that you're a girl? Sima Yue's attention was on this point. If they said it out, it would be troublesome. Third brother, don't worry. They said that they won't say it out. Sima Yue said, I trust them. I trust that you won't act rashly now. Sima Yue said, you should recuperate today. We'll head to Salt City tomorrow. Grandfather is still waiting for us there. Grandfather hasn't gone back yet? Sima Yue asked. The moment she said this, she realized that something was wrong. However, it was too late. Sima Yue, who had just calmed down, stared at her with a straight face. It's over. I can't escape this time. Sima Yue cried in her heart. Chapter 95. How did you know that grandfather would come here? Sima Yue stared at Sima Yue. That gaze made her heart flutter. Well, I saw it that day. Sima Yue grinned and said, Third brother, didn't you come here a long time ago? How did you know that Grandpa was here? We met Grandpa yesterday morning. He said that he would stay in Yin City for a few more days. If we can get out, we will go and look for him. Sima Yue said, Don't try to change the topic. Grandfather didn't say that he met you in the mountains yesterday, which means that he didn't know you were here. Tell me, where did you see Grandpa? Did you secretly run off to steal the golden snake fruit? Seeing the way Sima Yue was acting, Sima Yue buried her head into the pillow, saying, I just went to take a look. It's a very, very far place. I didn't go over. Do you think I believe you? Sima Yue knew that Sima Yue was not far away when he saw her like that. When Sima Yue heard that Sima Yue had actually gone to snatch the golden snake fruit, he immediately cried out, Fifth bro, how could you go to such a dangerous place? Don't you know that this thing has attracted many powers and spirit beasts? It's such a dangerous place and you actually went to watch the fun. You really? If Grandpa finds out, you'll see how he'll deal with you this time. Hearing Sima Yue's words, Sima Yue immediately raised her head. Third elder brother, fourth elder brother, you have to keep this a secret for me. You can't let Grandpa know about this. Sima Yue looked at the two of them bitterly. She blinked her eyes and started to act cute. If it was in the past, she would definitely feel very uncomfortable doing such an action. But now, perhaps because she was facing her family, she didn't feel uncomfortable at all. How can we hide such a big matter from you? Sima Yue reprimanded her coldly. Do you know what would happen to us if something happened to you? How sad would Grandpa be? I was wrong. Sima Yue admitted her mistake sincerely. No matter what the reason was, it was not valid in the face of his family's worries. It's good that you know you were wrong. Sima Yue saw Sima Yue being reprimanded by Sima Yue with a cold expression and felt a little sorry for her, so he spoke up for her. That's right, third brother. Don't be angry. I just went to take a look out of curiosity. I won't do it again. Sima Yue sounded sincere. She almost patted her chest and promised. Sima Yue was not as easy to talk to as Sima Yue. His expression remained cold. Sima Yue winked at Sima Yue and she immediately understood. She pulled on Sima Yue's sleeve and shook it. Third brother, I really know I was wrong. Don't be angry. When you get angry, my little heart trembles. Ouch, my wound hurts again. Fifth bro, where does it hurt? Sima Yulu asked anxiously. Sigh, it hurts everywhere. Sima Yue complained. You're awake. I know you're faking it. Sima Yuran looked at Sima Yue helplessly. Why did this guy feel even more shameless than before? We don't have to tell grandfather about this. But if you dare to act this way again, let alone tell grandfather, I'll punish you first. Knowing that Sima Yuran said this, the matter was over. Sima Yue giggled and said, I won't do it again. After speaking, she added a sentence in her heart, I won't let you know next time. If Sima Yuran knew what she was thinking, he would definitely be angered to death. Alright, let's continue to recuperate today. We'll see how your body is tomorrow. If it doesn't work out, we'll wait for another day. We'll go out and discuss the itinerary with them. Sima Yuran said as he walked out. Sima Yulu walked behind him. He turned around and made an okay gesture to Sima Yue before turning around to leave. Sima Yue buried her face in the pillow once again. She lamented in her heart how she had made such a stupid mistake. However, she felt warm because of her family's concern. After Sima Yuran and Sima Yue left, Wei Ziqi supported Bei Gongtang in. The relationship between the five of them changed slightly because of her identity. At the very least, Bei Gongtang would talk to her like a girl. Although she was still lying on the bed today, her wounds were healing at a speed that was visible to the naked eye. On the next day, Sima Yue did not want to delay everyone's journey. She ignored the pain in her bones and insisted on setting off. Sima Yuran could not change her mind and could only let them set off. However, before they left the mountain range, they had a few things to settle. Yu, do you want to wake them up now? Fatty Chu asked. If they don't wake up, how can this be considered fair? Sima Yue said as she took out a bottle of medicine and threw it to Fatty Chu. Put this under their noses and let them smell it. Fatty Chu did as he was told. After they smelled the medicine, they woke up not long after. Sima Yue? Leader Wu Tian saw Sima Yue and his dazed mind immediately woke up. It's me. Looks like I'm awake. Sima Yue said, you haven't eaten for a few days. You must be very weak, right? What do you want to do? Skinny Monkey saw the evil smile on Sima Yue's face and suddenly felt a chill in his heart. A chill rose from the bottom of his heart. Nothing much. I just want to learn from you guys. Sima Yue said, this antidote won't be able to recover your strength in a short period of time. The timing is just right. Fatty Chu, be careful. Don't get it on yourself. Otherwise, don't blame us for abandoning you. Fatty Chu took the bottle and sprinkled some on their bodies, saying, don't worry, I won't be so stupid. After sprinkling the powder on the five of them, everyone walked out of the cave. What did you guys do to us? Wu Tian shouted loudly at Sima Yue as the fear of the unknown filled his heart. Everyone else had already left. Fatty Chu turned around and said, didn't I say that I wanted to learn from you guys? Now you guys can properly experience the feeling of being favored by spirit beasts. After speaking, he left without looking back. Not long after Sima Yue and the others left, a few spirit beasts followed the smell and came to the cave. When they saw Wu Tian and the others, they attacked them like crazy. Very quickly, the five of them were dealt with cleanly. Not even a bone was left. Yu, what did you sprinkle on them? When they were far away from the cave, they could still hear the final screams of Wu Tian and the others. Sima Yulu went beside Sima Yue and asked, it's nothing much. It's just some powder to attract spirit beasts. Sima Yue said, how did you get that? Sima Yuran asked, I bought it before I came. Because there were outsiders present, Sima Yue casually said. Although these people were her two brothers' teammates, she was not familiar with them. That was why she did not plan to let them know about her. Chapter 96. Sima Yuran and the others did not know that Sima Yu had medical skills, so they did not think that she was the one who had personally created this. At this rate, we should be able to leave in a few days. Wei Ziqi changed the topic appropriately. We're finally going out. After staying in the mountains for so long, I feel like I've turned into a spirit beast. Fatty Chu said with a smile. I think you're a barbarian who has been staying here all this time. Sima Yue said with a smile. What barbarian? Humph, this young master misses the bustling world of the capital. If I really had to stay in the mountains for half a year or a year, I would definitely go crazy. Fatty Chu said. You're just too restless. That's why you're so far behind Ouyang and Bei Gong. Sima Yue said as she slapped Fatty Chu's head. Thinking that he was the weakest amongst the five of them, Fatty Chu shrugged his shoulders awkwardly and didn't refute Sima Yue's words. However, she swore to herself that she would not fall behind Sima Yue. It was this vow that made him put more effort into his cultivation in the future, allowing him to constantly improve. The journey out was peaceful. Even if they encountered some low-level spirit beasts, it wouldn't be too much of a problem with the strength of a dozen or so people. 3 days later, they finally left the Puluo mountain range while riding on the spirit beasts. The spirit beast carried them and continued to rush towards Salt City. Sima Yu sat on the back of Sima Yuran's spirit beast. She turned her head back and looked at the endless mountains under the blue sky. She sighed heavily in her heart. Bei Gong Tang sat behind Wei Ziqi's spirit beast and saw Sima Yue turn around to look. They also glanced at her and felt the same way. None of them had expected that they would encounter so many things in this operation. After walking on the edge of life and death several times, they had helped and cared for each other. Originally, they were only together because of the Academy's request, but now they had truly developed a friendship of life and death. They had become a true team. Sima Yue saw that Bei Gong Tang and the others were also looking back, so she shifted her gaze to them. Coincidentally, they were also looking back. The three of them looked at each other and smiled knowingly. Sensing their previous interaction, Ouyang Fei and Fatty Chu looked over as well. Everyone could see the smiles in each other's eyes. A warm current flowed into each other's hearts, allowing them to find a different kind of warmth in this team. The spirit beast brought the group of people to Yen City very quickly. When they reached the outskirts of the city, they kept their spirit beasts and went straight to the inn that Sima Lai was staying at. Coincidentally, it was also the place where Sima Yue and the others had stayed. The innkeeper was calculating the accounts at the counter when he heard someone come in. He looked up and said with a smile, "Oh dear guests, I'm really sorry. Our inn has been booked by someone and we can't stay for the time being. Do you want to check out other places?" "We came to look for someone," Sima Yuran said. "Looking for someone?" That guest didn't say that anyone would come looking for them. The innkeeper said suspiciously, "I'm sorry everyone. Those people have instructed that without them, we are not to disturb them." At this moment, a guard came down from upstairs. When he saw Sima Yuran and the others, he quickly came down and bowed to them, saying, "Third young master, fourth young master, fifth young master, you're finally here." "Xiaoling, where's grandfather?" Sima Yuran asked. "Master is upstairs. We're preparing to return to the capital. I came down to check out," Xiaoling replied. Xiaoling was Sima Lai's personal guard. Seeing that his expression was not right, Sima Yue asked, "Did something happen to grandfather?" Xiaoling never thought that Sima Yue would be so sensitive and guessed it immediately. He was stunned for a moment before saying, "Yes. The general is injured. We're preparing to bring him back to the capital to look for Great Master Shi." "You're going back to look for him? Then grandfather's injury is very serious?" Sima Yue was shocked. "What happened to grandfather?" "We don't know either. When the general went out yesterday, he didn't let us follow him. When he came back this morning, he was seriously injured and has been unconscious for half a day. We've looked for the local alchemists to take a look, but they were helpless. It's useless to look for an alchemist either. That's why we're planning to return to the capital to look for Great Master Shi," Xiaoling replied. "Don't check out yet. I'm going to take a look at grandfather," Sima Yue said and ran upstairs. "Xiaoling, get the innkeeper to arrange rooms for everyone," Sima Yuran said and ran up as well. Sima Yue didn't say anything and chased after him in a hurry. Xiaoling didn't know why Sima Yue wouldn't let them check out. However, since Sima Yue had instructed him, he turned around and said to the innkeeper, "Arrange rooms for everyone." After speaking, he went upstairs as well. Sima Yue didn't need to ask for Sima Lai's room. She went upstairs and ran towards the door where there were guards. "Fifth young master." When the guards saw Sima Yue, they were surprised to see her here. However, Sima Yue didn't give them any time and directly pushed the door open and entered. Sima Yuran and Sima Yulu came up and nodded at the guards before entering the room. This room was the room that Sima Yue had stayed in before. When she entered the room, she immediately saw Sima Lai lying in the bedroom. "Grandfather." She ran over and saw that Sima Lai's eyes were tightly shut and his eyebrows were furrowed together. His lips were trembling and he seemed to be in great pain. His face was black and looked like he had been poisoned. She quickly grabbed Sima Lai's hand and took his pulse. When Sima Yuran and Sima Yulu saw Sima Lai in this state, they panicked. When they saw that Sima Yue was taking his pulse, they forgot that she didn't have any medical skills and asked, "Yu, how is grandfather?" Sima Yue didn't say anything. After taking his pulse, she put down Sima Lai's hand and said, "There is a poison in grandfather's body that is wreaking havoc. However, it is different from the usual poison." Sima Yue was a little puzzled as she looked at Sima Lai's body for a while. Suddenly she grabbed his clothes and pulled, revealing his pitch-black chest. What is this?" Sima Yue saw the thing on Sima Lai's chest and cried out in shock. As for Mo Sha, who was recovering his soul beside the golden snake fruit tree, he suddenly opened his eyes and his eyes flashed with suspicion. As expected, Sima Yue saw the black aura on Sima Lai's chest and sucked in a breath. Her expression was incomparably solemn. You know this?" Sima Yuran looked at Sima Yue suspiciously as he asked. "I guess I know. I've seen it in a book before," Sima Yue said. "Then do you know how to save grandfather? If it's not possible, we can immediately use the teleportation array to return to the capital," Sima Yue said. "It's too late." Sima Yue shook her head. "Using the teleportation array to return to the capital will take a day. If the poison in grandfather's body is not expelled, he will die in half a day." "What did you say?" Sima Yuran and Sima Yulu were flustered by these words. It was a good thing that Sima Yuran reacted quickly and held onto Sima Yue's shoulder, saying, "Fifth bro, since you know this thing, do you know how to remove it?" Chapter 97. Sima Yue shook her head and said, "I haven't thought of a way. I can only suppress the poison in Grandpa's body for a while." "How long?" 2 days. Sima Yue said, "We have to think of a way to detoxify the poison within these 2 days. Otherwise the result will be the same after 2 days." "Okay, help grandfather suppress the poison first," Sima Yue said anxiously. "Take off Grandpa's shirt." Sima Yue nodded at the two of them and said. Just as Xiaoling came in, she ordered, "Tell the waiter to bring up a jar of liquor and new cotton cloth." Xiaoling saw that Sima Yue was stripping Sima Lai of his clothes and did not know what Sima Yue wanted to do. However, he immediately ordered the guards at the door to do as Sima Yue said. Very quickly, the strong wine and new cotton cloth were brought up. Sima Yulu had already taken off Sima Lai's clothes. Xiaoling took the jug and gestured for the guardsman to leave and close the door. "The liquor is here, fifth young master," Xiaoling said as he approached with a jar of liquor. Sima Yue took the cotton cloth and had Xiaoling open the wine jar, before holding the jar and pouring wine onto the cloth. Once the cotton cloth was completely soaked by the strong alcohol, she used the cotton cloth to wipe Sima Lai's entire upper body. After wiping it 3 times, she threw the cotton cloth aside. With a thought, an exquisite box appeared in front of everyone. She opened the box and took out the silver needles inside. She quickly inserted them into Sima Lai's body, followed by the second one, the third. Sima Yulu and the other two watched as Sima Yu inserted needles all over Sima Lai's body. They were all extremely puzzled, not knowing what these needles were for. Half an hour later, Sima Yu's forehead was covered with perspiration. She heaved a sigh of relief after the last needle was inserted. "Fifth bro, are you done?" Sima Yuran asked when he felt Sima Yu relax. Sima Yu wiped the sweat off her forehead with her sleeve and said, "Yes, it's under control for now." Sima Yu had to be very careful with every step. She could not afford to make a single mistake. This put a lot of pressure on her. Fortunately, she was able to successfully insert the needles and suppress the poison in Sima Lai's chest. The scar on grandfather's face disappeared. Sima Yulu said excitedly as he looked at Sima Lai's face. Sima Yuran and Xiaoling took a look. As expected, the black aura on his face had disappeared, and his complexion returned to normal. However, because of his injuries, he was still pale. "Fifth bro, how did you do that?" Sima Yue asked. "I used a silver needle, Yu. Acupoints, what's that?" Sima Yulu frowned and asked. "Also fifth bro, when did you learn medicine?" Sima Yue said, "Grandfather can't move for now." Yue said Yu said Yue, Tue said grandfather test Yue, "I'm going back to my room to rest and see if I can think of anything." Yue Sima Yu kept the remaining silver needles into her interspatial ring and turned around to leave. Sima Yuran looked at her back and his eyes flashed with suspicion. Sima Yue went to the room next door. It did not matter who the room belonged to before, it was now hers. She locked the door from the inside and entered the soul pearl in a flash. She wanted to see if there was anything here that could help her. She didn't expect to see Mo Sha the moment she entered. "Mo Sha, why are you here? Aren't you beside the golden snake fruit tree? What is the shape of the black chi on your grandfather's chest?" Mo Sha asked directly. Sima Yue knew that Emo Sha could freely enter and exit the spirit pearl, so she guessed that he would know what was going on outside, so she wasn't surprised that he knew about Sima Lai's situation. She thought for a while and said, I think it's a chicken claw print, but it has 6 fingers. Sima Yue said. 6 fingers as expected. Emo Sha muttered. Sima Yue looked at Emo Sha's reaction and asked, You know? That's not poison, it's demonic qi. Emo Sha said. What? Demonic qi? Sima Yue widened her eyes. Didn't you say that the devil clansmen are all in the devil realm? Why would there be demonic qi on grandfather's body? How would I know? I haven't been back for many years. Emo Sha said, Why would there be demonic qi on your grandfather's body? You can just ask him when he wakes up. Since it's demonic qi, do you have a way to save my grandfather? Sima Yue looked at Emo Sha expectantly. Emo Sha had never seen Sima Yue look at him like that. In the past, no matter if she was threatening him, thanking him, or ignoring him, her eyes always carried a faint sense of alienation, but now he saw a trace of dependence in her eyes. This made him, who had never felt dependence, feel strange. How is it, is there a way or not? Sima Yue saw that Emo Sha didn't speak, so she urged him. Emo Sha put away the strange feeling in his heart and said, There is a way and it's very simple, but after the demonic qi is expelled, your grandfather's body will be damaged. Then what do we do? Sima Yue asked. As long as you have a Huangji pill, it'll be fine. Emo Sha said. Huangji pill? What kind of pill is that? What grade is it? Sima Yue asked. It's a pill that helps the human body recover. 4th grade. Emo Sha said. 4th grade. Sima Yue was stunned when she heard that. Where was she going to find a 4th grade Huangji pill now? If it's really not possible, then we'll save grandfather's life first. We'll think of a way to recover his strength later. I saw it, there are ingredients for the Huangji pill in the spirit pearl. Emo Sha said. Sima Yue raised her head and looked at him, blinking her eyes. That's right, you can refine pills. Can you help me refine a Huangji pill? If you want me to help, I can do it, but you have to promise me one thing. Emo Sha said. Sima Yue stared blankly, then her face darkened, saying, If you can save my grandfather, I promise you that when we can cancel our contract, I will cancel it. Emo Sha didn't think that Sima Yue would know what he was thinking. Thinking about the relationship between the two of them, it wasn't strange that she knew. However, he didn't think it was bad. With his status, how could he be bound by one person for his entire life? Since you know, then I don't have to say it. I can refine the Huangji pill, but you'll need to inject spiritual energy in the end. Otherwise, without using demonic energy, the pill will directly take his life. Emo Sha said. I know. Then when do we start? Sima Yue asked. When you've rested enough. Emo Sha said, I'll take this chance to prepare the ingredients. Sima Yue nodded. She went to where the golden snake fruit tree was and sat down to meditate. This golden snake fruit tree had healing effects on the soul and could help her quickly recover her spiritual energy. When she felt that she had more or less recovered, Emo Sha appeared in front of her, saying, The ingredients have been prepared, we can start now. This 5th grade pill requires quite a bit of spiritual energy, so you have to be prepared. These pills are pills that I just refined to recover spiritual energy. You have dark energy in your body, so there won't be any abnormalities after consuming them. Chapter 98. Sima Yue took the pill and looked at the black pill in her hand. She didn't think that the pill that Emo Sha casually refined to recover spiritual energy would be a 3rd level pill. Then how high was his alchemy level? Since you can refine pills by yourself, why do you need my help? Sima Yue was puzzled as she recalled that he wanted her help to refine pills. After all, I'm just a spiritual body. I can still endure refining these low-level pills. If it's a high-level pill, I don't have enough demonic qi to condense the pill. I see. She put away the pill and stood up, saying, Let's begin. Emo Sha didn't know what Sima Yue was thinking as he brought him to the alchemy room. Little Spirit was already waiting there. He knew that Sima Yue was anxious now. He glanced at her and did not say anything. I'm going to start now. When I tell you to start, you have to start injecting spiritual power into it. If I don't tell you to stop, you can't stop. Otherwise it will be scrapped. When you don't have enough spiritual energy, take some pills. It was rare for Emo Sha to be so kind as to advise her. Okay. Sima Yue nodded and shifted her gaze to the alchemy furnace. Although it was said that he was refining pills for his grandfather this time, it was also a learning opportunity. By watching others concoct pills, He could also reflect on his own shortcomings and seek improvement. Mo Sha seemed to have the same idea, so he slowed down his refining process as much as possible so that Sima Yue could understand. However, because of this, the original 3 to 4 hours had been extended by nearly an hour. Begin. Mo Sha said. Sima Yue also guessed that it was about time to condense the pill, so she was already prepared. When Mo Sha shouted to start, she condensed her spiritual energy and inserted it into the pill furnace. In order to make the pill contain spiritual energy, she had to quickly infuse it with spiritual energy, so she quickly felt that the spiritual energy in her body was insufficient. When her spiritual energy was about to dry up, she took out the pill that Mo Sha had refined and ate it. The pill quickly took effect in her body and she felt her empty spiritual energy fill up again. She didn't know if it was the pill's power or if it was drawn in from the air. Mo Sha was originally worried that Sima Yue would not be familiar with the process and cause the spiritual energy to be interrupted. However, seeing that she continued to infuse it at a constant speed, he looked at her with approval. After eating the 2 pills, she continued for about 10 minutes before Mo Sha shouted for her to stop. Sima Yue quickly retracted her hand and sat down on the ground in exhaustion. Mo Sha refined a bit more, waiting for the pill to be completely refined before he extinguished the fire and retrieved the pill. A golden-colored pill appeared in front of Sima Yu's eyes. That dazzling golden color gave her the color of hope. You should rest well here and recover the spiritual energy in your body. Mo Sha said. Yu's heart she's Sima Yue have the pill. She is Yu's spiritual energy at Yue. If she Yue to Yue is the... Sima Yue felt that the spiritual energy in her body was somewhat restless. The spiritual energy outside was still continuously entering her body. This feeling? Could it be that I'm about to advance? Sima Yue thought to herself. If that's the case, then let's see if I can advance to level 6. Just as she was about to let loose, Little Spirit appeared in the pill refining room and interrupted her cultivation. What's wrong? Sima Yue looked at Little Spirit and asked. I'm telling you not to waste time and energy. Little Spirit said, it's impossible to advance in the Spirit Pearl. No matter how much spiritual energy you absorb, it'll only accumulate in your body. Can't advance? What? Sima Yue didn't understand. Because there's no heavenly Tao here. Little Spirit said. What's heavenly Tao? Sima Yue continued to ask. I'm not sure what it is. You'll have to experience it yourself. Little Ling said, if you can't advance here, why don't you go outside? Who knows, you might be able to succeed. Thinking about Sima Lai's situation, she felt that she couldn't stay here any longer. She got up and prepared to look for Mo Sha. When she opened the door, she saw him standing outside with his hands clasped behind his back, looking at the scenery in the distance. Done. Mo Sha turned around and asked. Let's go. Sima Yue said. Mo Sha nodded and Sima Yue went out first. In Sima Lai's room, Sima Yu ran and Sima Yu looked at Sima Lai worriedly. Third bro, the doctors and alchemists we invited all said that there's no way. Do you think fifth bro has a way to save grandfather? Sima Yu said. Sima Yu ran thought about Sima Yu's back as she left and said, I don't know either. Right now we can only hope that he can think of a way. I hope that he really has a way. Sima Yu felt that Sima Yu Ran's words were weird, but he couldn't put his finger on it. Xiaoling knocked on the door twice and pushed it open to enter, saying to the two of them, Third young master, fourth young master doesn't seem to be in the house. Fifth bro isn't in the house? Sima Yu said in disbelief, if he's not in the house, where could he have gone? This subordinate knocked on fifth young master's door, but there was no sound from inside. Xiaoling said, Fifth bro has already gone back for almost a day. Grandfather only has 1 day left. Where could he have gone at this time? Sima Yu said worriedly. I went out to look for something. Sima Yu suddenly appeared at the door, giving the three of them a shock. Fifth bro, have you thought of a way to save grandfather? Sima Yu asked. Sima Yu nodded, saying, I have, but I need absolute silence. Can you guys go out for a while? Sima Yu and Sima Yu exchanged glances, not knowing what Sima Yu wanted to do. Don't worry, I will definitely save grandfather. Sima Yu promised, I won't let anything happen to grandfather. Sima Yu stood up and walked over to Sima Yu. He wanted to pat her head, but he put his hand down halfway and said, We'll wait for you outside. Sima Yu nodded. Sima Yu looked at her with a strange gaze, but also with a hint of understanding. She could not help but wonder if he had discovered her identity. Fifth bro, I'll leave grandfather to you. Sima Yulu saw that Sima Yuran had left, so he left as well. Sima Yuyue turned around and closed the door. She looked at the people outside and said, "Don't worry, grandfather dotes on me so much. It's time for me to repay him." After speaking, she closed the door. Sima Yulu saw the way Sima Yue was acting and muttered, "Fifth bro has really grown up." Sima Yuran looked at the tightly shut door and did not comment on Sima Yuli's words. Had she really grown up? Or was it that she had changed into someone else? In the house, Sima Yue came to Sima Lai's bedside. With a thought, Emo Sha appeared beside her. Because there were people outside, Sima Yue could not speak and used their contract to communicate with Emo Sha. Emo Sha, let's begin. Chapter 99. Emo Sha nodded his head and looked at the claw mark on Sima Lai's chest. He indicated for her to feed him the mighty emperor pellet and then removed the silver needles from his body. Sima Yue did as she was told. She took out the mighty emperor pill and placed it in Sima Lai's mouth. After seeing that he had swallowed it, she then took back the silver needles and retreated to the side. Emo Sha extended his right hand and placed it on top of Sima Lai's chest. A ball of black fog slowly wrapped around his hand. Sima Yue stared at him closely, not knowing how he was going to expel the devil chi from Sima Lai's body. Emo Sha, on the other hand, was very casual. It was as if the devil chi in Sima Lai's body had met its natural enemy and began to move wildly. Those 6 chicken claws seemed to have come alive and began to move around chaotically. Sima Yue was shocked by the scene in front of her. She thought that it was just some simple devil chi, but she did not expect it to be alive. Seeing the devil claw resisting, Emo Sha coldly snorted and increased his strength. The devil claw unwillingly pulled out of Sima Lai's body. Squeak squeak. When the devil claw left Sima Lai's body, it let out a shrill squeal like that of a mouse. "Little 6-toed devil mouse, you still want to fight against me?" Emo Sha's devil chi grabbed the devil claw in his hand. Just one look was enough to make it tremble. Emo Sha exerted force and the devil claw turned into a faint black fog, which was swallowed by the black fog in his hand. "That's it?" Sima Yue asked as she watched Emo Sha retract his devil energy. Emo Sha nodded and entered the soul pearl in a flash. Sima Yue turned around and took Sima Lai's pulse. She could feel that his body had been corroded by the devil chi. If it was just a simple removal of the devil chi, his strength would definitely have dropped by a lot. Fortunately, the Nightmare Emperor Extreme Pill was slowly repairing the parts of his body that had been corroded. Presumably, his strength would not be damaged by the time he woke up. After confirming that Sima Lai was alright, Sima Yue's worried heart finally relaxed. She came to the door and heaved a sigh of relief. She opened the door and smiled at Sima Yuran and the others who were anxiously waiting outside. "Third brother, fourth brother, it's done." Sima Yulu was anxiously pacing in circles when he saw Sima Yu come out. He shot forward and held her shoulders asking, "Fifth bro, is grandfather alright?" "Fortunately, I did not disappoint you." Sima Yu smiled as she stepped aside. Sima Yuran and Sima Yulu rushed in and only relaxed when they saw that the black aura on Sima Lai's body had already disappeared. "Fifth bro, it's all thanks to you," Sima Yu said as he patted Sima Yu's shoulder. "I just happened to see it in an ancient book." Sima Yu said. "No matter what, this time it's all thanks to you." Sima Yuran said, "When will grandfather wake up?" "Grandpa's body was injured by that demonic creature and is now recovering. He should be able to wake up tomorrow," Sima Yu said. "Demonic creature?" Sima Yuran frowned. "Why would a demonic creature appear here?" As far as I know, demonic creatures are all in the devil realm. I don't know how grandfather encountered one and was even injured by it." Sima Yu said, "We can only wait for grandfather to wake up before we talk about it." We'll ask grandfather when he wakes up." Sima Yuran nodded. "Third brother, fourth brother, you've taken care of grandfather for an entire day. Go and rest for a while. Just leave this to me." "Okay, take good care of grandfather." After an entire day of anxiety and worry, Sima Yulu was indeed tired. "We'll be next door. Remember to inform us when grandfather wakes up," Sima Yuran instructed. "Don't worry, I will." Sima Yue sat beside Sima Lai's bed and waved at the two of them. Sima Yulu went out first and Sima Yuran followed behind. When he closed the door, he glanced inside and saw Sima Yue sitting beside the bed and looking at Sima Lai. She carefully helped him put on his clothes and the corner of her mouth lifted slightly. When she was the only one left in the house, she contacted Emo Sha, who was in the spirit pearl. Sha, what kind of demonic creature is that six-toed devil mouse? It's just the lowest ranked demonic creature in the devil realm. Sha said lightly. Since it's a demonic creature, why would it appear in Dongqin? This is indeed a little strange. Sha thought about it and said, demonic creatures usually live in the devil realm. More accurately speaking, they are trapped in the devil realm. Now that it has appeared here, it can only mean that a demonic creature has found an exit and is coming here. What will happen if a large group of demonic creatures come here? Sima Yue thought that even the lowest-ranked six-toed devil mouse caused Sima Lai to be like this. If a large group of demonic creatures came, the consequences would be unimaginable. She thought that all living things in the continent would be wiped out. Don't worry, what you're thinking won't happen. At least it won't happen for the time being. Sha said with a cold smile as he felt Sima Yue's thoughts. What? Sima Yue asked. Didn't I just say it? The demonic creatures are trapped in the devil realm. Since they are trapped, how can they let a large group of demonic creatures out? Even if there is an exit, the demonic creatures won't choose to come to the Yilin continent. Why not? Because of the heavenly Tao. Sha said. The heavenly Tao again. This was the second time Sima Yue heard this phrase, but she still didn't know what the heavenly Tao was. I still don't understand. Sima Yue shook her head. Let's put it this way. Sha said, because the Yilin continent's level is too low, its strength is too weak. For the sake of the balance of the world, an invisible thing appeared here. That thing restricts those high-leveled places so that they can't come here and wreak havoc. The heavenly Tao will naturally restrict their strength so that they can only display the highest level of strength here. For example, a god-ranked person can only display the strength of a spirit paragon here, right? Sima Yue asked. Right. Sha said. Because they are weak, they are protected by the heavenly Tao. And the barrier between the devil realm and the Yilin continent is the thickest. Those fellows won't give up on the weak spot and choose to come here. Even if they come, they won't be able to get good resources. They won't waste their time. Although it was uncomfortable to be called the weakest spot, after hearing this, Sima Yue didn't have to worry about the devil clan coming here to harm her family. Also, the devil clan isn't as strong as you think. Sha said after a moment of silence. Grandfather is a spirit paragon, but he can't defeat a normal devil beast from the devil realm. Isn't that strong? Sima Yue didn't believe it. This six-toed devil rat is special. Also, your grandfather must have been ambushed for it to succeed. As for the devil chi, it's just that your light attribute counters each other. If we meet other devil beasts, it's not like your grandfather doesn't have the strength to fight. Grandfather was ambushed? Sima Yue looked at Sima Lai. What exactly did he encounter yesterday? Not only did he suffer such serious injuries, he was even ambushed by a devil beast. Since it was impossible for people from the devil realm to come to this world, then who was the one who had the six-toed devil rat? Why did he hurt grandfather? Grandpa, please wake up quickly. Website, please support this website. Chapter 100. In order to protect Sima Lai, Sima Yue cultivated in the house that night. She moved a chair to the side of the bed and sat cross-legged on it, beginning to cultivate the soul-refining technique. The next morning, sunlight shone into the house. Sima Lai slowly opened his eyes and looked at the sunlight that shone on Sima Yue's body. He felt dazzled. After cultivating for an entire night, the remaining fatigue from yesterday was swept away. Sima Yue let out a long breath and slowly opened her eyes. Grandfather, you're awake? Seeing Sima Lai looking at her, Yue was so excited that she almost jumped out of her chair. Sima Lai nodded his head and looked at her kindly. Thinking of his previous situation, he knew that he must have frightened her. Yue, how did you know I was here? I met third brother and fourth brother in the mountains. They said that you live here. Sima Yue said, Aya, you're awake. I'll call third brother and the others. You were injured and unconscious, which scared them to death. After speaking, she quickly ran out and quickly brought Sima Yuran and Sima Yulu back. Grandfather, you're awake. Do you feel uncomfortable anywhere? Sima Lai shook his head, indicating that he was fine. Xiaoling, have the shop cook some porridge for breakfast. Sima Yu said to Xiaoling, who came in. Then she thought about it and realized that the things cooked in these places might not be drinkable. She changed her mind and said, forget it, I'll do it myself. Third brother, you guys stay here and take care of Grandpa. I'll go make some breakfast. Before Xiaoling could react, Sima Yue had bypassed him and left. He did not think that Sima Yue would actually be able to save Sima Lai. Looking at his master who had opened his eyes again, his eyes turned slightly red. He came to the bed and knelt down. General, your subordinate did not protect you well and caused you to suffer such a great disaster. Please punish me. Xiaoling, get up. I was the one who didn't allow you to follow me, it's not your fault. Although Sima Lai had woken up, he was still somewhat weak and spoke weakly. Xiaoling, just get up. Grandfather won't blame you. Sima Yuran said. Sima Yula came to Xiaoling's side and pulled him up. He then said to Sima Lai, Grandfather, you don't know how dangerous your situation was this time. If it wasn't for the fact that fifth brother knew to save you, I'm afraid that we would have. He didn't finish his sentence, but everyone understood. You saved me? Sima Lai asked in surprise. Sima Yuran nodded, saying, That's right. When we arrived at the inn, we bumped into Xiaoling, who was checking out. He said he wanted to take you back to the capital to find Master Shi. But fifth brother checked you out and said that if you don't get treatment in time, you'll only live for half a day. Later, she used some needles to suppress the poison in your chest and delayed it for a day or two. Yes, we invited some doctors to take a look, but they all said that there was no way. Later, it was fifth brother who found a way to save you during this period of time, and then he even guarded you for a night. She said you would wake up today and you woke up this morning. How did you save me? Hearing that his favorite granddaughter had saved him, Sima Lai was in a good mood. We don't know either. She told us to go out. Sima Yula said. Sima Lai thought of the person behind Sima Yue who had cured her poison. Could it be that that person had taught her? Until now, Sima Lai still felt that someone was helping her from behind. Because he was too weak, Sima Lai didn't say too much. Sima Yuran and the others just stayed by his side. After a while, Sima Yue came in with a bowl of porridge and said to Sima Yuran and the others, Third brother, fourth brother, I left some porridge in the kitchen. I'll feed grandfather here. You guys go and eat something first. You guys haven't eaten for a day. Okay. Sima Yuran and the others had eaten Sima Yue's food a few times before, and they all fell in love with it. Since they hadn't eaten for a day, they were indeed a little hungry. As such, everyone went out and left Sima Lai in her care. Sima Yue placed the tray on the table and came to the bedside saying, Grandfather, I'll help you up so you can lean against me. Sima Lai nodded and used her strength to move his body backwards and leaned against the pillow that she had prepared. Sima Yue brought the porridge over and scooped up a spoonful. She blew on it before feeding it to Sima Lai. Grandfather, this is a medicinal porridge that I added a few ingredients to. It will be very helpful for your recovery. Sima Yue said as she fed him. With Sima Lai's strength, he didn't need much food. In the past, he would accompany Sima Yue to eat breakfast. He thought that it was just a habit, but he didn't expect that she had specially cooked porridge for him. Yue's food is getting better and better. The porridge was fragrant and smooth. After eating it, he felt a warm current flow through his body, expelling all the coldness in his body. The strength in his body slowly returned. If grandfather likes it, Yue will make it for you more often in the future. Sima Yue said with a smile. Ah, good. Sima Lai heard these heartwarming words and thought of the person who used to be with him all day long and didn't even return home. His heart was filled with emotions. It was said that daughters were like cotton jackets, and his granddaughter had learned how to be considerate. The grandfather and grandson duo finished the entire bowl of porridge in this warm atmosphere. After they were done, Sima Yue even took out a silk handkerchief to wipe his mouth. Sima Lai's heart was in a mess. After placing the bowl on the tray on the table, Sima Yue returned and said, Grandfather, do you feel better? The effects of your medicinal porridge are really not bad. My body is now comfortably warm. Sima Lai said. That's good. Sima Yue said, Grandfather, how did you get injured? It's nothing much. When I went out, I met an old enemy. Sima Lai said. Grandfather, don't try to coax me. Sima Yue said, Demons don't appear in the Yilin continent. If it was an ordinary enemy, how could you be injured by the six-toed devil mouse and leave behind demon chi in your body? You're saying that it was a demon? Sima Lai looked at Sima Yue with an expression of shock that was no less than when she first found out. Sima Yue nodded and said, That's why I guessed that it wasn't an ordinary enemy that hurt you. And with grandfather's strength, there aren't many in the entire continent who can hurt you. So the monster that hit me at the end was actually a demon. Sima Lai muttered. Grandfather, you're still not going to tell me? Sima Yue said. You're really much smarter than before. Sima Lai said, It's just that that person must have already gone back, so if I tell you, Grandfather, since it was an enemy that wanted your life, it must not be an ordinary grudge. Just because they left now doesn't mean that they won't come back. If you don't tell us, what if we meet them later? Sima Yue interrupted Sima Lai's words, causing him to be stunned. After a moment of silence, Sima Lai let out a long sigh and said, "Sai, this is also an old grudge of our clan." Chapter 101. It actually escalated to an old family feud? The moment Sima Lai opened his mouth, Sima Yue was shocked. I really shouldn't have told you these things, but if something like this were to happen again and I suddenly die, you would be even more at a loss. Sima Lai said with a sigh. Sima Yue saw the unwillingness on Sima Lai's face. She held his hand and said, "Grandfather, we are also the descendants of the Sima family. If we can help you share some of the burden, we will, right?" Sima Lai patted Sima Yue's hand. This granddaughter of his was so sensible that it made his heart ache. Have you ever thought that while other clans have many branches, our Sima family only has our branch? Sima Lai asked. Sima Yue thought about it and it seemed to be the case. Other families had many branches but their Sima family only had Sima Lai, Sima Yue and her 5 siblings. In the past, she didn't think much of it because she didn't have a strong sense of family in her previous life. But now that she thought about it, it didn't match this world at all. In this world, all the families were united. There was no one like them who only had a few masters. Unless they didn't have any other relatives. "Grandpa, are all our relatives from the other branches dead?" Sima Yue asked. Sima Lai shook his head and said, "We didn't die but we were chased out." Chased out? Yes, and they were banished to this place of captivity. Prison? Sima Yue felt that she had been confused by Sima Lai. This place was a prison, could it be that they were living in a prison? Actually, the Dongqin kingdom is a part of the Yilin continent, you know this right? Sima Lai asked. Sima Yue nodded. She knew about this. Actually, this Dongqin kingdom is the Yilin continent's prison. Sima Lai said, the people in this country were all driven here in the past. Those large clans were driven here for a long time so they slowly developed and developed. As for us, because we haven't been here for long, we haven't developed yet. Grandfather, why do you say that the Dongqin kingdom is a place of imprisonment? Sima Yue asked in confusion. Because the Dongqin country is surrounded by steep mountains and is guarded by high-grade spirit beasts, these places are like a prison, and the people here can only live in this place. If anyone wants to go out, I'm afraid they won't be able to go far before dying in the Sophia Mountains. Sima Lai said, this Dongqin kingdom's resources are scarce. Compared to the outside world, this place is like a prison. In other words, we are actually living in a valley. Sima Yue said. Sima Lai nodded. Grandpa, why were we banished here? Sima Yue asked. Because I was framed. Sima Lai's entire body trembled as he spoke. Our Sima family can be considered a big family outside, but your great-grandfather was framed and expelled from the family. He was even chased by the person who framed him. With no other choice, he could only bring us to escape into the Sophia Mountains. The Sophia Mountains are dangerous and not long after we entered we were all killed. Even your great-grandfather and great-grandmother were not spared. In the end I was the only one left. Originally, I almost died in the stomach of a spirit beast, but fortunately, a benefactor saved me and brought me out of the Sophia Mountains to the Dongqin kingdom. Saying this, Sima Lai glanced at Sima Yue. He did not tell her that the person who saved him was her father. After that, I lived here and worked hard to improve my strength. Fortunately, my talent was not bad and I was able to mix well here. I even became a great general, and helped His Majesty to manage the security of the Dongqin kingdom. Sima Lai said. Then the person who hurt you, was he the one who framed our family? Sima Yue guessed. Yes. Sima Lai nodded, that was my childhood playmate. I don't know why but he actually knew about the golden snake fruit. I don't even know what method he used, but he actually passed through the Sophia Mountains and came to the Puluo Mountains. Originally, my strength was about the same as his, but his battle strength was not as good as mine. Just as I was about to win, an ugly monster came out from his body and hit me. At that time, I felt that something was wrong and immediately ran away. That person knew that grandfather ran away, will he come again? Sima Yue was a little worried. I don't think so. Sima Lai said, I understand that person's temperament, he has always been conceited. Since I was injured by a spirit beast in his eyes, I would not live for more than a day, so he was certain that I would not survive. Even if he felt that I was lucky enough to survive, he did not know where I was. If he wanted to find me, this Dongqin kingdom is not small, so he would need to spend some time. However, he did not have the time to delay. Why? If I remember correctly, not long after, it will be a grand day for the Sima family. Everyone in the Sima family must return, otherwise they will be severely punished. He cannot afford to delay. Sima Lai said. However, this is still a hidden danger. Sima Yue thought for a while. Since he knows that you are here, he will also guess that you have a family. If they have the intention to silence you, I'm afraid that our future days will not be good. I think so too. Sima Lai said. Sima Yue saw that Sima Lai's eyebrows were tightly knitted and smiled, saying, "Grandfather, don't worry too much. These are only our guesses. That person may not have the time to come again. You should just focus on recuperating, we can talk about the rest later." Sima Lai saw Sima Yue's smile and the worry in his heart dissipated. He secretly made a decision in his heart that no matter what, he must protect her safety. Sima Yue waited for Sima Lai to cultivate and recuperate before leaving the house. When she returned to her own room, the smile on her face disappeared and was replaced by a deep worry. Although that person may not come now, he was still a hidden danger. Looks like I have to think of a way to increase my brother's strength. If not, when those people come, we will not have the strength to fight back. Sima Yue flashed into the spirit pearl and ran to look at the remaining 5 golden snake fruits. They were the only things that could increase her strength now, but she was still unable to refine pills. Other than relying on pills, there are other methods. Little Spirit appeared beside her and reminded her. There are other methods? Sima Yue looked at Little Spirit and hugged him, saying, "Little Spirit, what other methods are there? Your flattering look is really ugly." Little Spirit said disdainfully. Sima Yue slapped him on the head and shouted, "Flattering my ass, hurry up and say what other methods are there." Chapter 102. Little Spirit did not expect Sima Yue to change her mind, so he did not avoid her hand. After being hit, he covered his head and glared at Sima Yue. Sima Yue looked at Little Spirit's big round eyes that were staring at her pitifully. She immediately felt that he was adorable. She hugged him with one hand and rubbed his head with the other. She said, "All right, I'm just anxious. Tell me, what other methods do you have?" Little Spirit could feel Sima Yue's love for him. Hearing her words, he curled his lips and said, "You're so stupid. Pills increase their strength from the inside. Can't you do it from the outside?" "From outside?" Sima Yue blinked. "You mean to prepare contract beasts for them?" Little Spirit nodded his head. "Have you forgotten what Mo Sha gave you? That's a treasure." "You mean the Imperial Beast Art?" Sima Yue thought of what it said. Using the Imperial Beast Art to tame spirit beasts, both parties would be able to increase their strength during the contract. Her eyes shone as she pinched Little Spirit's face and said with a smile, "That's right, I can prepare spirit beasts for my brothers to contract." "Little Spirit, thank you for your reminder." After saying that, she kissed Little Spirit's face and left with satisfaction. "Leaving saliva on my face again." Little Spirit looked at her back, but there was a hidden smile in his eyes. Sima Yue came out and called Little Roar over. Did you miss me?" Little Roar pounced into Sima Yue's embrace the moment he arrived and said shamelessly. Looking at the narcissistic Little Roar, Sima Yue could not help but roll her eyes. How could there be such a narcissistic spirit beast? "Little Roar, you can make those spirit beasts listen to you, right?" Sima Yue asked. "Let's see what level it is." Little Roar said, "If it was just a normal beast, it wouldn't be a problem. However, if you're looking for a sacred beast, with my current strength, I won't be able to handle it." "No need for a sacred beast." Sima Yue waved her hand. Even if she wanted a sacred beast, she didn't have one now. Just ordinary spirit beasts. "I want to prepare some contract beasts for my brothers, and I can tame them so their levels can't be too high." "That's easy," Little Roar said. "How much do you want?" "I'll go to the Puluo mountain range and kidnap a few." "All right." Little Roar finally admitted that he had abducted a spirit beast. "One for each of my 4 brothers." Sima Yue said, I think it's better if I go with you. Let's see what level I can tame. I'll try my best to prepare higher level ones for my brothers." "All right. When are we going?" Little Roar had always been very passionate about abducting spirit beasts. Hearing that they were going to abduct spirit beasts, he was extremely excited. "Go now. He should be leaving for the capital tomorrow. Let's see if he can make it back before tomorrow morning," Sima Yue said. "Tomorrow morning? We definitely can't do it tomorrow morning." Little Roar said, You can tame one spirit beast, but you have to choose a good one. Also, you have to test how high level you can contract. You have to take it slow. It'll be good if you can do it in 10 days. Sima Yue thought about it. Little Roar was right. It looked like she had to find an excuse to leave. After thinking for a long time, she left a letter and hugged Little Roar as she left the inn. She didn't think that she would bump into Sima Yuran the moment she stepped out of the inn. Third brother? What are you doing here? Sima Yuran looked at Sima Yue. She still had that familiar face and that familiar look of reliance, but they all went out to shop. I waited for you here. Sima Yuran said with a smile. Wait for me for what? Sima Yue felt a little guilty. This guy couldn't have really seen through her, right? Sima Yuran saw Sima Yue's expression and stepped forward to rub her head, saying, Are you interested in taking a walk with third brother? Does third brother want to go shopping? No, I have something I want to talk to you about. Sima Yuran said. Okay. Then let's go for a walk. Sima Yue said. She had always known that Sima Yuran was the smartest out of her 4 brothers. She was too different from how she was in the past. In the past, because they didn't spend much time together, he didn't realize anything. However, after spending a few days together, he understood a few things. She lowered her head and followed Sima Yuran, thinking about how to tell him about herself. Unknowingly, she followed him into a tea house. Let's go up and drink some tea. Sima Yuran didn't ask for Sima Yue's opinion and directly brought her up. After getting the waiter to prepare a private room facing the street, Sima Yue sat opposite Sima Yuran and waited for him to speak. I heard that the tea here is not bad. Sima Yuran said as he poured a cup of tea for Sima Yue. Sima Yue raised the cup and sniffed it, then took a light sip. After that, she put the cup down and said, It really is not bad. Sima Yuran looked at Sima Yue, who was lightly sipping the tea, and his eyes drooped. 5th brother didn't know how to drink tea in the past. Every time I gave you good tea, you would gulp it down in one gulp. Everyone has to learn. Sima Yue's heart thumped. It really came. It's true that you have to learn, but some things can't be learned just by learning. I saw 5th brother's actions when he was treating grandfather were incomparably skillful. This is not something that can be learned overnight. Sima Yuran said. Sima Yue was silent. He was right. Her medical skills were not something that could be learned in a short period of time. That day when she was treating Sima Lai's acupuncture, it was clear that she had not learned it in 3 to 5 days. What does third brother want to say? Sima Yue directly asked. Sima Yuran did not think that Sima Yue would take the initiative. He smiled, saying, I just want to know, who are you? Why are you pretending to be my 5th brother? Where is my 5th brother now? Sima Yue wanted to speak, but Sima Yuran raised his hand and said, Don't say that you are my 5th brother. What he was like in the past and what you are like now, we are all very clear in our hearts. If you say that you are him, do you think that I will believe you? Sima Yue was silent as she lowered her head and took a sip of tea. You better tell me the truth. Otherwise, it won't be hard for me to get rid of you now. Tell me quickly, where is my 5th brother? Sima Yue looked up and saw the anxiety in Sima Yuran's eyes. She sighed, saying, Third brother, it really is me. Impossible. Sima Yuran denied it. When I was 4 years old, I wet the bed. When you came to wake me up, you just happened to see me hiding my wet pants under the bed. Sima Yuran's body trembled as he looked straight at Sima Yue. When I was 5 years old, you brought me to the forest outside the city to look for beehives. We were stung by bees and one of them somehow got into your pants and stung your balls. When I was 10 years old, you fell in love with a girl. I was the one who encouraged you to chase after her, although you gave up in the end. Also, when I was 10 years old, I had my first period. I was so scared that I lost my head and thought that I was going to die. It was you who helped me find a sanitary pad, and the servant girl almost thought that you had some bad fetish. Cough cough, don't say any more. Sima Yuran unnaturally interrupted Sima Yue when she mentioned those things. Sima Yue smiled. These are things that we promised to keep secret. I haven't told anyone all these years. Do you believe me now? Chapter 103. Sima Yuran had his suspicions, but the things that Sima Yu said were indeed little secrets that only the two of them knew. However, he found it strange that the person in front of him was his familiar younger sister. They were two completely different people. But how do you know medicine? When Sima Yue heard his question, she knew that he already believed her identity. She said, Did Grandpa tell you about the seal on my body? Seal? Sima Yuran furrowed his eyebrows. He didn't seem to have heard of this before, but seeing how she said it, it didn't seem to be fake. What's going on? Sima Yue shrugged and said, I don't know either, but when I spoke I had the memories of my previous life. Later on, because of the seal, my memories were also sealed. Later, because I was injured, the seal loosened and I recovered the memories of my previous life. That medical skill is also something that I learned in my previous life. Your past life's memories? Sima Yuran felt that it was a little inconceivable, but this was the best explanation at the moment. It's no wonder your temperament has changed so much, and you've learned all these things that you didn't know before. What was your previous life like? Sima Yue recalled that she was framed and killed by the second-in-command of the organization on Earth. Recalling that heart-wrenching pain that belonged to Sima Yue in her dream, her complexion became somewhat unsightly. She smiled and said, Third brother, those are all memories of the past. It's all in the past. Let's not talk about it. Sima Yuran knew that Sima Yue must have thought of something unhappy, so he didn't continue to ask. The two of them fell silent. Third brother, if you're willing to tell us about this, I won't ask you to keep it a secret. Sima Yue did not want to keep it a secret. As long as you are still our fifth brother, these things are not important. Sima Yuran said with a smile. Thank you, third brother. Sima Yuran looked at Sima Yuran and thanked him sincerely. I'm your brother, so I naturally have to protect you. Those guys didn't find out because they weren't smart enough, not because I didn't tell them. I knew it. Third brother is the smartest. Sima Yue smiled. Third brother, I want to ask you to help me with something. What is it? Sima Yuran asked. I have to make a trip back to Puluo mountain range. Can you take them with you first? I'm afraid that if I tell Grandpa he won't let me go. Sima Yuran raised his eyebrows. Then how did you know that I would agree to let you go if you told me? The Puluo mountain range is too dangerous, how can I let you go alone? Third brother, the last time I was alone in Puluo mountain range for a few months, did you forget? Sima Yue said, I also had an urgent matter to deal with. Don't worry, I'll go back by myself after I come out. But, I'm no longer who I used to be. I have the memories of 2 lifetimes. I won't joke around with my life. Sima Yue said, it's a deal then. Third brother, help me settle Grandpa. I'll leave first. After speaking, she didn't wait for Sima Yuran's reply and ran out. Sima Yuran watched as Sima Yue left and laughed as he shook his head. This brat. Her temper is the same as before. He raised his head and looked out of the window. Sima Yue just happened to run into the main street and felt his gaze. She even turned around and waved at him. Third brother, remember to keep it a secret. After speaking, she even made a gesture in the air. Sima Yuran didn't reply, but he was thinking about how to explain it to Sima Lai when he returned. Since she said that she wanted to keep it a secret, it meant that she didn't want everyone to know that she went to Puluo mountain range. Thinking about the gesture that Sima Yue made just now, Sima Yuran's trust in her increased by another point. That gesture was something that the two of them would do every time they asked each other to keep it a secret. She did it inadvertently, which proved that she was really his sister and not someone else in disguise. Although he was smart, he didn't think of using another person's body to come back to life. As for Sima Yue, she treated the Sima family as her own home from the bottom of her heart. She treated them as her own family and treated her as the real Sima Yue. Sigh, what a mischievous brat. He sighed as he stood up and left. His steps were much lighter than when he came. Sima Yue left the city and called out Yaguang, asking him to bring her to Puluo mountain range. She didn't know what excuse Sima Yuran would use, but she believed that he would definitely be able to bring Sima Lai and the others back. Yaguang's speed wasn't slow and she quickly returned to Puluo mountain range. Her goal this time was very clear. She was here to catch spirit beasts. Because she didn't know how many spirit beasts she could tame, she started from low-level spirit beasts. She first looked through the Imperial Beast art a few times and memorized the methods and points to take note of. After that, she got Yaguang and Little Roar to catch a low-level spirit beast. This was the first time she used the Imperial Beast art, so Sima Yue was a little nervous. That low-level spirit beast was not big and under the pressure of Yaguang and Little Roar, it lay on the ground, trembling. Sima Yue walked over and placed her hand on its head. After that, she followed the instructions of the Imperial Beast art and moved the spirit energy in her body, working hard to establish a connection between herself and the spirit beast. Yaguang and Little Roar watched from the side. Because they didn't dare to interrupt her, they could only communicate through their contract. Little Roar, how does it feel to be tamed? Yaguang asked. At that time he had taken the initiative to recognize Sima Yue as his master, so he didn't know how it felt to be tamed. How would I know? Little Roar said, I've never been tamed before. You've also contracted without being tamed? Ye Guang looked at Little Roar in shock. Haha, it's all because I was young and ignorant. I was tricked by the cunning Yu and had no choice but to follow her. Sigh, now that I think about it, I'm filled with bitter tears. Ye Guang looked at Little Roar and sighed in his heart. He really knows how to act. Do you think that our master can tame a spirit beast? Ye Guang saw that Sima Yue had not succeeded after so long and asked with uncertainty. Of course she can. Little Roar always had an exceptionally trusting attitude towards Sima Yue. No matter what it is, as long as Yu doesn't want to do it, there's nothing she can't do. Sima Yue, who had just finished taming, heard Little Roar's words and looked at him speechlessly. This guy, he was bursting with confidence in her. She didn't know when she was so powerful that she could succeed in whatever she wanted to do. Are you done taming it? Little Roar flew over and looked at the low-level spirit beast obediently lying on the ground. Yeah, it's my first time using the Imperial Beast art. I'm not familiar with it, so I took a few detours and spent a little more time. Sima Yue said. What she didn't know was that maybe it was because of the strength of the Imperial Beast art or her unusually strong mental strength. The time she took to tame it was much shorter than the average Beast Tamer Master. Especially since it was her first time. If the Beast Tamer Master Guild knew that she had succeeded in taming a spirit beast on her first try, it would probably cause a storm. Chapter 104. For the rest of the time, Sima Yue had been looking for spiritual beasts to contract. From a level 1 low spiritual beast to a level 1 sacred beast, she had been improving rapidly. After 5 days in the mountains, Sima Yue could already tame a level 1 animal. On this day, after taming a level 1 sacred beast, the feedback from the beast allowed her to break through level 5 spirit master and successfully advance to level 6. I didn't expect the taming beast art to really allow a beast tamer to gain strength while taming beasts. Sima Yue was in a good mood as she sensed the increased strength in the Dunglong's body. Of course. Otherwise, why would this art of taming beast become a treasure that all the beast tamers fought over? Little Spirit said, the previous owner was a beast tamer. He once said that he wanted to obtain this Imperial Beast art. This was because if a beast tamer wanted to tame a spirit beast of a higher grade, they would have to spend more time improving their mental power, which would delay their own cultivation. If he had obtained the art of taming beast, he would have been able to gain strength while taming spirit beasts. He wouldn't have been able to. Little Spirit, you have so many previous owners. Sima Yue broke out in cold sweat. She already had an alchemist and a beast tamer. She wouldn't be surprised if it told her that its previous owner had an alchemist and an array master. Little Spirit sniffled. It would never tell Sima Yue that its previous owner had all kinds of occupations. Alright, let's continue taming. Sima Yue said, Little Roar, when I first tamed a level 1 sacred beast, I felt that it was rather easy. Why don't you directly find me a level 3 sacred beast? Alright, you wait. Little Roar flew away after speaking. Not long after, he brought a 3rd level sacred beast over. This time, Sima Yue felt that it was a little strenuous. In the end, she barely managed to tame it. After the taming, she wiped the sweat off her forehead. It seemed that she had overestimated her strength. However, being able to tame a saint beast was a rare sight in the entire Dongchen country. Of course, this was because she had obtained the taming beast art and training soul art, as well as her powerful mental power. Do you want a level 4 one? Little Roar saw that Sima Yue was done taming and flew over to ask. Sima Yue shook her head and said, It's taming a level 3 beast. If I taming a level 1 beast, I might as well hurt myself. Go and find me a few level 3 beasts. I'll start taming them after I recover. Yue said Yue was spirit beast you used to. Her you spirit beast for spirit. Perhaps it was because she had used up all her mental energy the first time she had tamed it. Sima Yu spent an entire night to recover and only fully recovered on the 2nd day. After that, she tamed some 1st, 2nd and 3rd level saint beasts and kept them all into her soul pearl. In order to not let them know the secret of the spirit pearl, she asked Little Spirit to lock them up together. Master, you've been here for almost half a month. Ye Guang saw that Sima Yue was almost done with her preparations, and the saint beasts in the surrounding area were almost wiped out by her, so he reminded her. Yes, it's time for us to leave. Sima Yue nodded, I wonder how the capital is now. Let's wait for Little Roar to return before we head back. After she finished speaking, she called out to Little Roar in her heart a few times, telling him that she was about to leave. She told him to come back quickly, or else she would leave him behind. You heartless you. Little Roar complained, then said to the spirit beasts that were happily chatting beside him, I'm leaving. So don't miss me too much. After saying that, it flew towards Sima Yue, leaving the female monkey looking at it reluctantly. Sima Yue sensed the situation on Little Roar's side and her face was filled with black lines. This guy, he actually went to flirt with girls again? No, he went to flirt with spirit beasts. Yu, I'm back. Little Roar came back and threw himself into Sima Yue's embrace. Sima Yue grabbed Little Roar's neck and brought him in front of her, looking left and right. Yu, what are you looking at? Little Roar blinked his big eyes and asked. I'm looking to see if you're really an auspicious beast. Sima Yue said. Little Roar shook his head and said with incomparable arrogance, Can you tell? I only see a perverted beast. Sima Yue threw Little Roar away and sat on Yaguang saying, Let's go. After receiving the order, Yaguang broke into a run. Little Roar found his balance in the air and saw that they had already left. He complained unhappily, she actually treated a handsome and confident ancient divine beast like this as expected. A woman's heart is the most poisonous. However, other female beasts don't have any immunity against me. Why is Yu always so violent? Could it be that she was a man in her past life? That's not right, wasn't she Yu in her past life? Sigh, what a headache. Unable to think of an answer, he saw that Sima Yue and the rest had already run far away. He hurriedly chased after them and landed on Yaguang's head, looking forward with a commanding attitude. With Yaguang's speed they quickly returned to Yen City. Sima Yue first went to the inn and found out that Sima Lai and the rest had already left 10 days ago. She directly went to the Spirit Master Guild and took the teleportation array to return to the capital. One day later, Sima Yue arrived at the capital and directly returned to the general's residence. Fifth young master, you're finally back. When the butler saw Sima Yue, he excitedly ran over. Hee, I'm back, where's grandfather? Sima Yue smiled and asked. The general is in the living room. The butler said. I'll go find grandfather. Sima Yue finished speaking and wanted to leave, but was stopped by the butler. Fifth young master, it's better if you don't go now, the people from the Nalan clan are here. The butler said. The people from the Nalan clan are here? Nalan clan? What did they come here for? Sima Yue asked. Didn't she ask Bei Gong Tang and the rest to cause trouble for Nalan clan? Why did they have the time to come here to cause trouble? It's not Nalan clan, it's the great elder of the Nalan clan. He said he wants to see you. The butler said, but the general saw that they didn't look friendly and was afraid that they were up to no good, so he instructed that if you came back, you shouldn't go to the living room. Great elder? Sima Yue searched her memories for the great elder of the Nalan clan. It was said that he was the strongest person in the Nalan clan other than the old ancestor. He was just a step away from breaking through to the Spirit Saint realm. Sima Yue originally wanted to go to the living room to meet the great elder. But the butler stubbornly refused to let her go. She also thought that Sima Lai wasn't so weak that he couldn't even handle an elder, so she gave up and returned to her own courtyard. The butler gave a look to the guard at the side, indicating that he should inform them when the people from the Nalan clan left. After that, he followed Sima Yue and left together. Returning to her own courtyard, Sima Yue didn't know whether to laugh or cry when she saw that the butler was guarding her closely. Did he still think that she was that young and inexperienced youth who was easily hurt and was afraid that she would get hurt? She kept this feeling of being touched in her heart. Thinking about the Nalan clan, she laughed coldly in her heart. She smiled and looked at the butler. Butler, did something happen to the Nalan clan recently? Chapter 105. Fifth young master, how did you know? The housekeeper looked at Sima Yue in surprise. The Nalan family had kept this matter a secret. If they hadn't been paying attention to the Nalan family's matters, they wouldn't have known about it. Didn't the fifth young master just return to the capital city? How did he know? Ahem, I'm just guessing. Sima Yue said, otherwise the first elder of the Nalan family wouldn't have come to our house. I heard that Nalan he was injured when he went to Puluo mountain range, and since he came back he has been in seclusion. Only a few of the guards who went with her came back alive. I don't know what happened to them. The butler sighed, his words filled with schadenfreude. Hearing that, Sima Yue was overjoyed. She knew that she would never miscalculate. Young master, you're back. When Chen Jian and Yun Yu heard Sima Yue's voice, they came out of the house and looked at Sima Yue in surprise. Ever since Sima Yue left, the two of them did not have much to do. The general allowed them to cultivate on their own, which was why their strength had increased in the past few months. When Sima Yue saw the two of them, she smiled and asked, "Did you miss young master?" "Young master is being naughty again," Chen Jian said with a smile. "Young master is often not at home now, of course we miss you." Yun Yu said, "How long will young master be staying this time?" "I should be going to the academy tomorrow." Sima Yue said, "I see that both of you have improved a lot. I wonder if your culinary skills have improved as well? Go, prepare dinner for this young master, I'm starving to death." Chen Jian and Yun Yu looked at each other and said in unison, "Young master, please wait a moment. We'll do it right away." After that, the two of them bowed and left. They went to the kitchen to prepare dinner for her. Sima Yue was about to return to her room when she saw the housekeeper still standing in the courtyard. She waved her hand at him and said, "Go do your work. Since I'm back here, I won't go see that rotten old man from the Nalen family." The housekeeper was indeed busy. He looked at her hesitantly, then cupped his hands and said, "Then this old servant will leave." Go on, go on." Sima Yue waved her hand and waited for the steward to leave before returning to her own house. After a while, Chen Jian and Yun Yu brought dinner over. Looking at the delicious dishes, Sima Yue couldn't help but steal a bite. "It seems that your culinary skills didn't drop when I wasn't here." Hearing her praise, Yun Yu Yue both smiled. Fifth young master. Just as Sima Yue was about to start eating, a guard shouted from the courtyard, "Young master, master send a visit Yue." Young master, tea master send Yue young Yue and Yue tea east. Tea bring it over and follow me. Sima Yue went to Sima Yue's study and Chen Jian followed behind her while carrying the dishes. When they were outside the study, Sima Yue took the tray and signaled Chen Jian to go back. The guards outside the study were ordered to open the door for Sima Yue when they saw her. Sima Lai was looking down at something. When he heard her voice, he didn't even raise his head and said, "Come and sit down to eat." Sima Yue placed the dishes on the table and reached out to take the letter from Sima Lai's hand. She placed a bowl of rice in his hand and said, "Since we're eating, don't look at these things." Sima Lai allowed her to place the letter to the side and accompanied her to eat dinner. After dinner, he asked the servants to clean up the dishes and even asked them to make her a cup of tea. Sima Yue looked at Sima Lai nervously. She felt that he was acting a little strange today. She had left for so long and only just met, but he didn't ask her what she was doing. He also didn't say why he called her over and only accompanied her to eat dinner and drink tea. Cough cough, grandfather, if there's nothing else, I'll go back first. I still have to go to the academy tomorrow. Sima Yue felt that this was a sign that Sima Lai was going to get angry and wanted to use this opportunity to escape. No rush, there's still some time before tomorrow. Sima Lai drank a mouthful of tea and slowly put the teacup down. Sima Yue picked up the teacup and drank tea. Sima Lai didn't say anything and she didn't say anything either. The Nalen clan came today. In the end, it was Sima Lai who couldn't hold it in and spoke first. "I've heard." Sima Yue nodded. She went quiet again after that. Sima Lai looked at Sima Yue and was puzzled. In the past, every time something happened she would ask until the end. Why was she so quiet today? He wanted to reprimand her but couldn't. He sighed in his heart. He really couldn't reprimand her. "You should know why they came, right?" Sima Lai said. "I don't know." Sima Yue said, "The housekeeper didn't tell me. They came to ask you for people." Sima Lai stared at Sima Yue trying to see something from her face. However, Sima Yue's expression didn't change at all. She didn't feel guilty at all, so he directly asked, "They said that you killed Nalen Chi and they want you to pay with your life." When Sima Yue heard this, she secretly thought that it was because of Nalen Chi. However, didn't something happen to Nalen He? Why did he still have the mood to find trouble with her? Without any evidence, how can you say that I killed someone?" She smiled slightly. "So it's true?" Sima Lai asked. Sima Yue nodded. She didn't plan to hide this matter from Sima Lai and said, "It was the morning when I left home. On the way to the academy he brought a spirit master bodyguard to kill me. However, he was killed by me in the end. Actually, on the morning of Nalen Chi's death, The bodyguard he sent to protect Sima Yue had already returned and told him what happened in the alley. Seeing that Sima Yue didn't hide it, Sima Lai said, "Right now the Nalan clan can't find Nalan Chi's body. No matter who asks, you just have to deny it." "Yes, I know." Sima Yue nodded. "However, I didn't want to talk to you about this matter today." Sima Lai changed the topic. "Tell me, did you do the recent things in the Nalan clan?" "What things?" Sima Yue didn't recover for a moment as she looked up at Sima Lai and asked. This time, Nalan he went to Puluo mountain range to steal the golden snake fruit. On the way back he was chased by various spirit beasts. "This matter has something to do with you, right?" Sima Yue's heart thumped. How did he know? Thinking that she couldn't let him know that she went to steal the golden snake fruit, she shook her head and denied, "Grandfather, how could the Nalan clan's matters have anything to do with me? Who knows if they've provoked some kind of spirit beast, and that's why they've been hunted down." "Alright, don't quibble." Sima Lai said, "I saw you guys." "What?" Sima Yue was really surprised this time. Could it be that he recognized her even when she disguised herself like that? Chapter 106. The subtle changes on Sima Yue's face did not escape Sima Lai's eyes. He glared at Sima Yue and pulled a long face as he said, "Still not admitting it?" Sima Yue laughed dryly and said, "Grandpa, weren't you fighting with the full ape? How did you see us?" She decided that as long as Sima Lai did not expose her, she would not directly admit it. I didn't see you, but I saw that kid from the Chu family. The 3 people beside you should be your roommates, right? They were all there, so how could you not be there, brat?" Sima Lai said, "Although I was fighting, I still managed to catch a glimpse of them from time to time." Hearing what Sima Lai said, Sima Yue let out a long sigh of relief in her heart. Right now he only thought that she was watching from the slope. If he knew that she was the one who had snatched the golden snake fruit, then the matter regarding Mo Sha would not be able to be kept. Moreover, she would definitely be taught a harsh lesson. In any case, the golden snake fruit couldn't be eaten directly. When the time came, she would just refine it into a pill and give it to them to eat. "Hee Grandpa, aren't you afraid of being hurt by the full ape?" Sima Yue relaxed as she let go of her worries. "The Nalan family's matter was caused by you guys?" Although it was a question, Sima Lai's tone was quite certain. Sima Yue nodded and said, "I heard them say that when they return from Puluo mountain range, they will come and find trouble with our family. So we might as well let them stay in the mountains. But Grandpa, how are those guys now? What else can we do? More than half of the bodyguards we brought with us have died, and the ones who are still alive have lost half of their lives. Nalan Lan is now hanging on by a thread, and Nalan he is missing an arm." Speaking of the Nalan clan's miserable state, Sima Lai's face was filled with schadenfreude. "They're still alive," Sima Yue said in disappointment. Sima Lai glared at Sima Yue and said, "This is also a heavy blow to the Nalan family. At least during this period of time, they won't dare to challenge us directly. That bullsh T first elder still came to find trouble with me." Sima Yue curled her lips. She had wanted to kill Nalan he in the Puluo mountain range. With the death of the clan head, the Nalan clan would definitely be in chaos for a while, but she had never thought that he would only lose an arm and nothing more. "What you think is actually not wrong. It's just that they are weak in this aspect, but they have found other ways to make up for it." Sima Lai sighed and said, "What's wrong?" Sima Yue looked at Sima Lai in confusion. "After you left the capital, the Nalan family invited an alchemist to join their family. It is said that the alchemist is about to reach the 3rd rank. Through this, they have attracted many spirit masters who cultivate on their own to join the Nalan clan. Furthermore, they have been constantly feeding off our business through the sale of pills. Your big brother and second brother have also been worried about this recently." Sima Lai said, "It's also grandfather's fault for not having a good temper and not having a good relationship with the alchemists. That's why no one is willing to come out and help us at this time. No wonder their clan head is like this, yet they still dare to come here and cause a ruckus." Sima Yue said, "But grandfather, you don't have to worry. Don't they have a 2nd-rank alchemist? We will also have one." She understood the attraction of an alchemist to cultivators and the thirst of those mercenaries for pills. If the Nalan family had an alchemist joining them, they would indeed have the capital to continue being arrogant. However, that was under the premise that the Sima family would not be able to find an alchemist. They were confident that Sima Lai's relationship with the alchemist was not good, so no one would be willing to join their family. However, they did not expect that an alchemist would appear from within the Sima family. Sima Yue thought back to the time when she had just arrived in this world. Sima Lai had given her medicine and the two of them had ridiculed those alchemists for being arrogant and even said that she would become an alchemist. Now, in less than half a year, she had already fulfilled her initial promise. A second-rank alchemist. She muttered, I want to see how powerful a second-rank alchemist like you is. What did you say? Sima Lai saw that Sima Yue was muttering to herself and asked. Nothing. Grandfather, if there's nothing else, I'll go back first. Sima Yue said. What do you mean there's nothing else? Sima Lai remembered that there was something he had not said and asked, Where have you been for the past 10 days? Your third brother only said that you had something to do and went out first. He didn't say where you went and what you did. You made us worried to death. Sima Yue then remembered about the spirit beasts and said, I didn't go there either. I just went to find a friend and brought back some tamed spirit beasts. Didn't you say that those people could come back at any time? I just wanted to see if there was any way to increase our strength. It just so happens that the Nalan family has attracted quite a few spirit masters, so we can use spirit beasts to make up for it. After she finished speaking, she called out the tamed spirit beasts from the spirit pearl. Suddenly, the study room was filled with spirit beasts. Sima Lai was shocked by the sudden change in front of his eyes. After that, he looked at Sima Yue and said, Where did these come from? Didn't you say that you found a friend to get them? Sima Yue said, Half of them are saint beasts and there are a few third-rank saint beasts. These are all left for my brothers. With their current strength, they should be able to contract a second spirit beast, right? As for those lower-ranked ones, we can take them to the shop to make up for the loss of the pills. The higher-ranked ones can be contracted by the trusted guards of the residence. What do you think, grandfather? Sima Lai looked at these spirit beasts excitedly. He had originally wanted to find a batch of spirit beasts for the people of the residence to contract, but the higher-ranked ones were not cheap. When he went to the Beast Tamer Master Guild, they said that they could only tame spirit beasts below saint beasts. 4 spirit beasts above saint beasts, they could only provide 1 or 2 spirit beasts per month. Other than providing the spirit beasts himself, he also had to pay a large sum of money to tame them. He did not expect that Sima Yue had left to do this. He was extremely excited and at the same time, he sighed in his heart at Sima Yue's meticulousness. He had just told her about the potential dangers and she immediately thought of using spirit beasts to increase her strength. Alright, there's also something else. That person told me that the spirit beasts she tamed are quite special. If she contracts with a person, both parties will receive strength feedback during the contract. The stronger one can even directly advance in rank. Furthermore, when the master advances in rank, the spirit beast will advance in rank as well. Sima Yue added. What? Sima Lai suspected that he had heard wrongly and asked again, You said that the contract can advance in rank? When the master advances in rank, the spirit beast will advance in rank as well. Yes, that person told me that. He said that her spirit beast taming technique is quite special. However, I don't know if it's true or not. Sima Yue said, Grandfather, find someone to deal with these spirit beasts first. As for the matter of the Nalan family's pills, it should be settled soon. Chapter 107. Sima Lai saw that Sima Yue was so confident, so he believed her words from the bottom of his heart. It was as if there would really be an alchemist coming to help the Sima family soon. Alright, you can go back first. I will properly deal with these spirit beasts, Sima Lai said. The Sima family suddenly had so many spirit beasts, and it was without the knowledge of outsiders. If they kept it a secret, it would be one of their trump cards. Therefore, this matter could only be handled by someone trustworthy. Those who were able to obtain the spirit beast as a reward were definitely loyal to the manor. That's right, that person said that this matter is confidential and won't be told to anyone else. Alright, I'm going back. After handing over the spirit beasts to Sima Yue left the study and no longer asked about the distribution of the spirit beasts. Sima Lai had lived for over 100 years longer than her, so he would definitely be more cautious and reasonable when dealing with these matters. After returning to her own courtyard, she told Chun Jian and the others not to disturb her. After locking herself in her room, she flashed into the soul pearl. Emosha. She came to the side of the golden snake fruit tree, and as expected, she saw Emosha meditating there. Emosha opened his seductive eyes, causing her heart to be filled with doubt. Why did she feel a sense of familiarity every time she looked into Emosha's eyes? What is it? Emosha asked. I want to become a Tier 2 alchemist as soon as possible. Sima Yue said as she collected her thoughts. Why? Sima Yue told him about the Nalan family and said, grandfather doesn't like those alchemists, so he doesn't have a good relationship with them. At this time, those alchemists are willing to help us. It wasn't an easy task to find an alchemist outside of the pill refinement hall. Therefore, I must become a second-grade alchemist as soon as possible, only then can I contend with the Nalan clan. Mo Sha furrowed his brows and said, you just became a first-ranked alchemist not too long ago. Wanting to become a second-ranked alchemist in such a short period of time isn't an easy task. I know. That's why I came to you for help. You will definitely be able to help me become a grade 2 alchemist. It's not like there's no way. Mo Sha said, however, no matter what you do, you have to take one step at a time. That's why your best method is to practice diligently and quickly familiarize yourself with every step of refining pills. Practice makes perfect. When you're ready, you'll naturally become a rank 2 martial artist. Will that take a long time? Sima Yue asked. With your talent and my guidance, it shouldn't take too long. Mo Sha said. Alright, I'll go out and make some arrangements. Sima Yue said and went out. She originally wanted to go to the academy tomorrow, but with the current situation she had to practice in seclusion. But if she was always in the soul, would Sima Lai not be able to sense her aura and discover something? After thinking about it, she still decided to go to the academy. In the dormitory, even if Fatty Chu and the rest were there, they wouldn't notice that she wasn't in the room. After making up her mind, she began to cultivate in her room. The next day she hurriedly rushed to the academy. Chun Jin and Yun Yu sighed when they saw Sima Yue's empty room. In the past they were always beaten and scolded by Sima Yue. Now that she was nowhere to be seen, they had nothing to do. This kind of change made the two of them very emotional. But they also made a decision in their hearts. Now that young master treated them well and gave them enough time and resources to cultivate, they had to work hard to increase their strength so that they could protect her in the future. Now that they were still practicing, there were no classes every day. The students could stay in the academy, cultivate in the dormitory, or go to the library to read. When Sima Yue arrived at the academy, Bei Gong Tang and Ouyang Fei had already left. Thinking about how the two of them were always elusive, she wasn't surprised. Fatty Chu had returned to his own clan, leaving only Wei Ziqi alone in the pavilion in the courtyard to read. Yue. Hearing the door open, Wei Ziqi looked up and saw Sima Yue. He stood up in surprise. Ziqi, why are you alone? Sima Yue walked over and sat down. Ouyang Fei and Bei Gong went out early in the morning. Fatty went home yesterday and hasn't returned yet. Wei Ziqi said, Yue, where did you go when we were in Yen City? Why did you leave without saying a word? Sima Yue rubbed her nose and said, I had some urgent matters to settle at that time, so I asked third brother to pass on the message. Have we handed in our mission? Wei Ziqi nodded. We handed it in the second day after we came back. Luckily, I was the one who kept the medicinal ingredients. Although you weren't around, the four of us had extra spirit beasts, so we managed to make up for your portion. So we got full marks for our mission this time. Really? Hearing that they got full marks for their mission, Sima Yue was happy. Thank you all. What's there to thank? Wei Ziqi said, if you didn't teach us how to work together, we wouldn't have been able to get so many spirit beast corpses. How long are you staying this time? I think it'll be quite a while. Sima Yue said, I think I'll be in closed-door cultivation for the rest of the time, so I won't come out often. You're in closed-door cultivation? Wei Ziqi looked at Sima Yue in astonishment. Normally, closed-door cultivation was for the sake of advancing in rank. Could it be that she had touched the barrier to advancing in rank again? Did she have to be so hurtful? If he knew that Sima Yue had already advanced in rank, he was afraid that his little heart would be hurt even more. Yes, I'll go back and tidy up the house first. Sima Yue stood up and returned to the house after she finished speaking. Wei Ziqi looked at Sima Yue's back and sighed secretly. She was working so hard on the poison, what right did he have to not work hard? He made a decision in his heart. As long as he didn't go to the library to look for information, he would rest in the room. Sima Yue cleaned the house once, then entered the spirit pearl to practice refining pills. She was already very familiar with refining first-ranked pills, so when Bei Gong Tang and Ouyang Fei returned in the evening, she had already refined a few batches of pills. Knowing that they had returned, Sima Yue came out of the spirit pearl and chatted with them for a while. She told them that she would be in closed-door cultivation before returning to the spirit pearl. Let's start the closed-door cultivation now. Sima Yue looked at Emo Sha and said. Emo Sha nodded and said, from now on, you'll cultivate in the spirit pearl during the day and recover your mental and spiritual energy at night. Although this golden snake fruit tree can release energy that can nourish the soul, it needs to absorb moonlight. So at night we'll need to go outside. Sima Yue looked at the golden snake fruit tree and realized that it was indeed not surrounded by white fog like before. Most likely, the moonlight in its body had already been used up. You've already refined pills for the whole day. Recover your mental strength tonight. Emo Sha said. Sima Yue nodded. With a thought, she brought the golden snake fruit tree and Emo Sha out of the spirit pearl. It just so happened that the moon was bright tonight. She let little Roar go and lift up 2 of the roof tiles so that the moonlight could shine in. When the moonlight shone on the golden snake fruit tree, the leaves immediately released a faint energy. Sima Yue and Emo Sha each sat cross-legged on one side and used the golden snake fruit tree to recover their souls. Chapter 108. Sima Yue began her crazy days of practicing alchemy. During the day she would practice alchemy in her soul pearl, and at night she would come out to recover her mental strength. At the same time she would replenish the golden snake fruit tree's energy. In order to be able to help the Sima clan, Sima Yue mostly refined the pills that she usually used when refining pills. Blood-clotting pills, chi recovery powder, these were all pills that mercenaries and spirit masters usually prepared. The reason why the Nalan family was favored by the mercenaries was because their prices were lower than the Sima families. Speaking of this, the Sima family felt helpless. Because they didn't have an alchemist, their shops originally didn't sell medicinal pills, but because of this, their performance in other aspects was affected. Helpless, they could only go to other shops to buy pills at a slightly lower price. Then they would sell them at the normal price. It was also because of this that the price of their medicinal pills couldn't be too low. Seeing the Nalan clan use this to suppress them, they could only watch helplessly. The Sima family did not have an alchemist, and this was the crux of the problem. Sima Lai had also thought of recruiting an alchemist, but the arrogant attitude of those guys made him unable to succeed in the end. Sima Yue also understood that when concocting pills, she would concoct more commonly used pills. Furthermore, these pills were easy to concoct, and the ingredients in her soul pearl were also complete. After a month, she had a few hundred bottles of pills in her hands. On this day, after she took the pills out of the furnace, Emo Sha appeared in front of her again. You can try refining a second-tier pill now. Emo Sha said. It's done? Sima Yue looked at Emo Sha. Previously he said that if he didn't say anything she would continue concocting tier 1 pills. She had always listened to him. Although she felt that she could already concoct level 2 pills a few days ago, she still continued to concoct level 1 pills. Emo Sha nodded his head and said, although you've been refining first-ranked pills for a long time, it's still the same saying, practice makes perfect. Practicing more first-ranked pills can increase your chances of becoming a second-ranked alchemist. I understand. Sima Yue said. With a thought from Emo Sha, a piece of paper appeared in front of them. This is the pill formula for the second-grade pill that I found in the study. Recover your mental strength now and then memorize this pill formula. Take a look at what you need to pay attention to first, and then I'll tell you when I'm refining. Okay. Sima Yue picked up the prescription and sat down on the floor to study it. Emo Sha watched as she focused on studying the pill recipe, and his eyes flickered. During this period of time, it could be said that he was together with her day and night. He saw with his own eyes that her alchemy level had increased from a low first level to a high first level. Her success rate had increased from 60% to over 90%, and the number of pills she could concoct had increased from 2 to 3 pills per furnace to nearly 10 pills. He had never seen such a talented and hard-working person before. Her tenacity and perseverance moved him. Back then he was just as talented as she was, but before his life changed he didn't work as hard as she did. In order not to disturb Sima Yue's research, he left the alchemy room. Sima Yue had a photographic memory, so she was able to memorize the pill formula after reading it once. However, she didn't immediately start concocting the pill. Instead, she repeatedly pondered over the pill formula. Only after she had thoroughly understood the pill formula did she stand up and prepare to begin. She stood up. She didn't know when the ingredients for the white lotus pill had been placed on the table. She smiled knowingly and closed her eyes to recall the pill formula. Then she started to refine them. Sima Yue was already very familiar with the steps of refining, so there weren't any big problems. When she finished refining the last ingredient, Mo Sha appeared behind her. The White Lotus pill is one of the easier second-level pills. The process is also simpler than the others. However, compared to the first-level pills, it's slightly more complicated. But just this point alone requires a higher level of mental strength. Just like what he said before, mental strength was very important to a cultivator. No matter what, whether or not one could walk further depended on it. Begin, I'll watch from the side. Sima Yue nodded and began to place the refined ingredients in the order of the pill formula. The first time she failed without any surprises. However, she wasn't discouraged. The difference between a first-level pill and a second-level pill wasn't small. It was normal for her to fail the first time. She let out a long sigh and concluded the reason for her failure. She picked up the ingredients and started to refine them again. Mo Sha looked at Sima Yue with satisfaction. If it was in the past, he might have taken her under his wing. He believed that in time she would definitely stand at the top of the world. The first failure was during the fusion. The second failure was during the condensation. On the third try she successfully refined a White Lotus pill. Although this pill was as ugly as the one she refined when she first learned how to refine pills, it meant that she had stepped into the ranks of a second-level alchemist. Not bad, you can grasp the requirements of refining a second-level pill after 3 tries. Mo Sha said, once you feel the difference between a first-level pill and a second-level pill, it will be easy for you to refine other second-level pills. Sima Yue looked at the pill in her hand and smiled happily. Recover your mental strength, then continue. Just as Sima Yue was in seclusion to refine pills, the Sima family was once again in danger. In the study of the general's residence, Sima Lai, Sima Yuming, Sima Yuqi and the steward were all frowning. Grandfather, those shops are no longer willing to provide us with pills. Sima Yuming said, once we sell all our pills, those mercenaries and spirit masters will no longer come to our shops. Our other businesses will also be affected. Sima Yuqi slapped the table beside him and said angrily, they said before that they would continue to provide us with pills, but now they're going back on their word. It must be that the Nalan clan gave those shops some benefits. Now is not the time to find out the reason. Sima Lai said with furrowed eyebrows, how long can our pills last? There should be another half a month. Sima Yuming said, because the price of the Nalan clan's pills is lower than ours, the number of people who come to our shop has decreased by quite a bit. All of our sales have decreased by 1/3 to half. There's only half a month left? Grandfather, we have to find a new shop within this half a month and get them to provide us with pills. Sima Yuqi said. Without an alchemist of our own, this is going to be troublesome. Sima Lai said, steward, send someone to recruit an alchemist. No matter what the other party asks, as long as it is within the limits of the general's residence, we will accept it. Yes, General. The steward bowed and retreated. Based on the relationship between the general's residence and those alchemists, it would not be easy to find an alchemist as soon as possible. Looks like we can only go outside and find an alchemist who has no grudges with us. The steward sighed and went to arrange it. Chapter 109. Half a month later, Sima Yue had already familiarized herself with the refinement of level 2 elixir pills. She was a little tired after a long period of refinement, so she gave herself a break and came out to see what her roommates were doing. Yue, you're out? Fatty Chu hurried over when he saw Sima Yue. Fatty, what's wrong? Seeing your anxious face, could it be that there's a beauty chasing after you? Sima Yue teased with a smile. Fatty Chu came over and looked at Sima Yue as he said, I do want a beauty to chase after me, but it's a pity that Big Brother's handsome looks aren't appreciated by a beauty yet. Aya, that's not what I wanted to tell you. If you don't come out, I'm going to call you. What happened? Sima Yue asked. It's the general's residence. They've been in big trouble recently. Hey Yue, why are you pulling me? Before Fatty Chu could finish his sentence, Sima Yue pulled him away. Come back with me, he said as he walked. Tell me what happened during this time. When Sima Yue returned to the general's residence, other than Sima Yuming and Sima Yuqi, even Sima Yuran and Sima Yulu had returned. This was the first time the whole family gathered together after Sima Yue was beaten up. Seeing that Sima Yue had returned, Sima Lai and the others were also very surprised. Previously they had sent people to the academy to look for her, but Fatty Chu and the rest had brought back a letter saying that she was in closed-door cultivation. They did not want to disturb her, but they did not expect her to come back directly. Seeing Fatty Chu who had returned with him, Sima Lai said, "Housekeeper, bring young Master Chu to the living room for a cup of tea." "Yes, General." The butler took a step forward and said, "Young Master Chu, please." Fatty Chu looked at Sima Yue and said, "Then I'll go first. If you need anything, send someone to call me. I have some say in the Chu family now." Sima Yue smiled and nodded at him. She would remember that he was willing to lend them a helping hand at this time. Fatty Chu cupped his hands towards the others and followed the housekeeper. The smile on Sima Yue's face slowly faded as she turned around to look at Sima Lai and said, "Grandfather, Big Brother, I heard from Big Brother that the general's residence has been searching for half a month and still hasn't found an alchemist?" "It's not that I didn't find it," Sima Yuming said, "it's just that when those alchemists heard about the situation in the general's residence, they opened their mouths like lions and raised many excessive requests. Grandpa got angry and chased them out." After he finished speaking, he looked at Sima Lai with resentment. Cough cough, taking advantage of people's perilous state. This kind of alchemist still wants us to worship them, what a joke. Sima Lai didn't feel that he had done anything wrong and was still angry on behalf of those alchemists. Sima Yue realized that Sima Lai seemed to have a huge prejudice against alchemists. As long as he met such an alchemist, he would not be able to suppress his fiery temper. "Grandfather, we've already reached this stage. Can't you control your temper?" Sima Yuming said with a headache. "Grandfather, although you're stronger than the ancestors of the Nalan clan, they won't go head-to-head with us now. We have to think of a way to hold on to our family business." Sima Yuchi said, "Our clan has few people and time is short. That Nalan clan is a clan that has existed for a long time. They've been attacking us in business, so grandfather can't just go up and kill them." Sima Yuran analyzed, "But they're constantly weakening our strength. We have to think of a way to stop this from happening. I think we should continue to look for alchemists." Sima Yulu said, "In such a big Dongqing kingdom, could it be that all the alchemists have been bought over by the Nalan clan? Or are they just taking advantage of the situation? But we ran out of pills yesterday. Since yesterday there have been fewer and fewer customers coming to our shop." Sima Yuming said, "In such a short period of time, where are we going to find an alchemist?" This sigh. Sima Yue sat at her seat and listened to their discussion. Seeing that they were all frowning, she said, How many pills do you need? Maybe I can." "Fifth bro, you don't have to get involved in this matter. You should go back to the sect and cultivate. We'll take care of things at home." Sima Yuming interrupted Sima Yue's words. It was enough for them to worry about these things. There was no need for Sima Yue to worry with them. "I have pills," Sima Yue said. "It's useless even if you have pills." "What, you have pills?" Sima Yuming spoke halfway before he realized what Sima Yue had said. He looked at Sima Yue in shock. Sima Yue nodded, saying, "I have first-ranked pills. I can use them for emergencies. Also, there's no cost to it. You can lower the price to the Nalan clan." "Fifth bro, you really have pills?" "Fifth bro, how do you have pills? You have all those pills? How many do you have?" Everyone came back to their senses and looked at her. "I have all the commonly used pills. There's blood-clotting pills, chi recovery powder and so on," Sima Yue said. With a wave of her hand, a few hundred bottles of pills appeared on the floor of the study. "These are all pills?" Sima Yuming asked in disbelief. "Brothers, you'll know once you see," Sima Yue said. Sima Yuchi and the other three stepped forward and each took a jade bottle. They opened it and it was filled with pills. "These pills add up to 1,000. Sima Yuchi said excitedly. Sima Lai stepped forward as well and opened a jade bottle. It was filled with pills. "Fifth bro, where did you get so many pills?" Sima Yuming looked at Sima Yue excitedly. "How much did you spend?" Sima Yue rubbed her nose, saying, "I didn't ask for money." "You didn't ask for money? Then how did you get them?" "You don't agree to do bad things for these pills?" Everyone in the house turned their gaze from the pills to Sima Yue. Sima Yue's face was filled with black lines because of their reaction. Why did they have such a reaction? "I refined these pills myself, so I didn't ask for money. It's not like what you think, I didn't agree to do bad things." Hearing her explanation, they finally relaxed. As long as nothing happened to her, it was fine. "You really scared us to death," Sima Yuchi said. "There's no free lunch in this world. We were worried that something would happen to you. So it was you who refined them. We can relax now." "What? You refined them?" This time, everyone was even more shocked than when they saw the pills. They looked at her and were speechless. "Fifth brother, Did you refine all these medicinal pills? When did you learn how to refine pills? Sima Yu wondered if he was hallucinating. They never knew that Sima Yu knew how to refine pills. Suddenly, something like this happened. Everyone felt like they were in a dream. Sima Yu secretly wondered if there was a need for such a big reaction. She smiled and said, "Didn't I say that I wanted to learn how to refine pills the last time? I started learning when I could cultivate." It would have been better if she didn't say it. Now that she said it, everyone's shocked hearts were hit hard again. Chapter 110. Fifth bro, you're saying that you used half a year to become an alchemist? Sima Yu looked at Sima Yu, doubting her words. Sima Yu looked at the pill, then looked at her. He thought about how she suddenly knew medicine, and thought that this pill refining was from her original memory. That was why he was less surprised than the others. Ha ha ha. Sima Lai laughed heartily as he came to Sima Yu's side. He patted her shoulder and said proudly, "I knew that the heavens would not cut off my Sima family. Back then you said that you wanted to become an alchemist. I didn't expect that you really did it. Not bad, not bad." Sima Yue grimaced in pain as she endured Sima Lai's strength. When he was agitated, he did not know how to control his strength. This slap landed on her shoulder and almost knocked her to the ground. "Now that we have so many pills and fifth bro knows how to refine pills, I'm afraid that the Nalan clan's plan to use pills to defeat us will be foiled," Sima Yuchi said. "Fifth bro, it's all thanks to you this time," Sima Yuming said. "As long as I can help." Sima Yue smiled. "Take these first. Tell me which pills you need and I'll refine them. Also, I'll refine some commonly used ones. Once I'm done, I'll have Chun Jian and the others deliver them to you." "All right." Sima Yuchi kept the pill away. "All right, what ingredients do you need to refine pills? I'll get someone to prepare them." "It's okay, I can handle the herbs myself," Sima Yue said. "What method do you have?" Sima Lai asked. "We don't have this pill, but we do have a lot of medicinal ingredients. Last time when I went to the Puluo mountain range, I picked up a spatial ring. There are many medicinal ingredients inside, enough for me to refine pills." Sima Yue said, "Don't tell anyone that I can refine pills, so don't make too much of a commotion with our herbs. Big brother, second brother, you don't have to calculate the cost of these pills and herbs. You can set the price however you want. If the Nalan clan wants to use this method to pull us down, we can do the same." Okay. Sima Yuming and Sima Yuchi smiled at each other. Previously it was the Nalan family who attacked. Now it was their turn. "Since we have the pills now, Yuming, Yuchi, you guys can go and do what you need to do," Sima Lai said. "Alright, then we'll head to the shop first." Sima Yuming and Sima Yuchi stood up, bowed to Sima Lai and turned to leave. "Yuran Yulu, do you two want to return to the academy?" Sima Lai asked. "The academy doesn't have any classes right now, so let's stay at home and see if there's anything we can help with," Sima Yuran said. "Alright. Grandfather, since there's nothing else, we'll head back first," Sima Yulu said. "Go." Sima Lai was in a good mood now that a huge matter had been resolved. Stay for a while." Sima Yue was just about to leave with them when she heard Sima Lai's words and returned to her seat. Sima Yulu and the other two glanced at her before leaving. Only grandfather and granddaughter were left in the house. Sima Yu asked, "Grandfather, is something the matter? The spirit beasts that you brought back last time, I've already distributed them to the clan," Sima Lai said. "Then when they contracted, did they advance in rank?" Sima Yue asked. "This is exactly why I asked you to stay." Sima Lai said, "Those who contracted saint beasts all advanced by 2 or 3 small ranks. Those who contracted low-ranked spirit beasts also advanced by 1 rank." "They really advanced in rank," Sima Yue said happily. Since it was true that they could advance in rank, then the book that said that their spirit beasts would advance in rank would also be true. Sima Lai nodded with certainty. "Now our clan's strength has quietly increased by a lot. Now that you can refine pills, we have more confidence in our battle with the Nalan clan." "Grandfather, there's something I don't understand," Sima Yue said. "What? Grandfather, aren't you the general of the Dongqin kingdom? The Nalan clansmen are going against us, but why is there no movement from the royal family?" Sima Yue voiced out her doubts. "The main thing is that the Nalan clan is not an ordinary clan. Furthermore, they did not use force against us, so the royal family did not step in to stop them." Sima Lai said, "But I feel that the most important reason is that His Majesty is wary of us and wants to use the Nalan clan to weaken our strength." "What?" Is it because grandfather's strength has increased? It's not just because of me. Sima Lai said, your 4 brothers seem to be very talented from the outside. In addition, my prestige in the Dongqing kingdom is increasing day by day. His Majesty is probably afraid that our achievements will shock him. Sima Yue pursed her lips. If it's really like this, then that whatever His Majesty is definitely not someone with foresight. The Sima clan did not have any thoughts about the throne at all. If it was just because Sima Lai's strength had increased and Sima Yuming's and the other brothers' talents had caused him to be wary of them, then His Majesty was definitely not someone with foresight. Oh right, in a few days it will be His Majesty's birthday. Let us all attend. At that time you will be able to see His Majesty. Sima Lai said. Oh, do you want to go when you see him? If there's nothing else, I'll take my leave first. Sima Yue finished speaking and left. When she passed by the main courtyard, she remembered that Fatty Chu was still drinking tea in the living room. So she changed her route and went to the living room. This was also the first time Fatty Chu had come to the general's residence. The housekeeper got someone to serve him tea and then went to work. He drank a few cups of tea, but Sima Yue had not arrived yet. He decided to walk around, and just as he walked to the door, he bumped into the person who came in. Yu, why didn't you make a sound when you came in? How would I know that you would be at the door? Sima Yue said, what are you doing here? I just wanted to walk around the courtyard and then you came in. Fatty Chu said. All right. You haven't been to the general's residence before, right? Let's go, I'll bring you around. Before we go around, I'll go to the toilet. Fatty Chu remembered that Sima Yue was a girl and changed his words. Piff. Sima Yue looked at Fatty Chu's awkward expression and laughed. She reached out and hooked his neck, saying, let's go, I'll bring you to the toilet. After relieving himself, Sima Yue brought Fatty Chu around the general's residence. Seeing the simple decoration of the courtyard, Fatty Chu was very surprised. He thought that the general's residence would be grand and magnificent. Sima Yue brought him to a pavilion and sat down. She got someone to bring some snacks over and the two of them chatted while eating. All right, Yue, will you be going to His Majesty's birthday in a few days? You know about this too? Yes, my brother has a good relationship with the third prince. Because of this, our family was noticed by the royal family. They invited my father, brother and me to attend the banquet. Your grandfather is a general, you'll definitely be going, right? Banquets are the most boring things. We'll talk about it when the time comes. Sima Yue said. It's good that you don't go. The Nalen family will definitely be there. If you bump into them, they'll definitely find trouble with you. The Nalen family will be there too? Chapter 111. That's right. Fatty Chu cracked his melon seeds and said, I heard that it's His Majesty's 150th birthday and it's going to be a big event. All the top powers in the capital have been invited. You know the Nalen family, so they will naturally go. Not only them, the Alchemist Guild, Beast Tamer Guild and Spirit Master Guild will also send people to attend. Like us, we can only go because of the third prince. Sima Yue tapped her finger on the stone table. Looks like all the powers will be there that day. That's right. Fatty Chu nodded. To be honest, that day is a good opportunity to broaden your horizons. It'll be good if you can go and take a look. And then maybe I'll go then. Sima Yue said. If you go, I'll have someone to talk to. Fatty Chu said, my brother wants me to go and broaden my horizons, but I don't have any interest in that. I also don't like to curry favor with the third prince. If you go, I won't be bored. We'll talk about it later. And then I'll go back first. Like I said, if there's anything you need me to do, just tell me. Fatty Chu stood up and said. I will. Sima Yue said with a smile. After sending Fatty Chu off, she returned to her own courtyard. Only the few of them knew that she was an alchemist, so everyone looked at her the same way. Only her closest relatives knew that she was no longer the same person as before. In the capital, everyone was paying attention to the Sima family and the Nalen family. One was the powerful Nalen family, the other was the powerful general's residence. They weren't willing to help either of them. If they stood on the wrong side, then what awaited them would be the disaster of making the wrong bet. Everyone knew that the Nalen family had invited an alchemist. They also knew that the Sima family didn't have a good relationship with alchemists. They thought that the Sima family would definitely lose this time. The news of the Sima family's shop selling out spread like wildfire. Many families could only shake their heads and sigh. This pill was indeed fatal to every family. However, not long after, the Sima family's shop started selling pills again, and the price was a third lower than before, which was even cheaper than the Nalan family's. To mercenaries who weren't rich, this price was undoubtedly a huge attraction. Soon, many mercenaries went to the Sima family's shop. The Nalan clan naturally received the news very quickly. The matter of the Sima family's medicinal pills being sold out was done by the Nalan clan's people, in order to make the Sima family's shop lose its appeal. However, they didn't expect that they would actually launch another pill, and the price was even lower than their own. This made them feel very inconceivable. In the Nalan family's meeting hall, Nalan he sat on the main seat with a gloomy face. The two elders sat on the side while the others sat below. Patriarch, is it true that the Sima family still has medicinal pills? Second elder said. Yes. Nalan he nodded. I just received news that they are still selling pills. But didn't we buy the last of their pills? Those shops have already agreed that they won't continue to supply the Sima family. Where did they get the pills? Second elder said doubtfully. Could it be that someone disregarded the agreement with us and sold them pills privately? First elder said. It shouldn't be. Nalan he said. Even if those people disregarded the agreement and sold the pills to Sima Lai, they wouldn't be able to buy so many at once. Moreover, they can still push the price so low. Then Patriarch's meaning is, Nalan he was silent for a moment and said. If my guess is right, they should have found an alchemist. How is that possible? Second elder shook his head with certainty. The people we sent said that every alchemist who came in contact with the Sima family didn't succeed. How could they suddenly have an alchemist willing to join their family? Patriarch, first elder, second elder. A boss with a mustache sat down and said. According to the news from below, the Sima family suddenly had over 1,000 pills. No alchemist would be able to take out so many pills at once. Over 1,000 pills? This number made the usually calm first elder somewhat surprised. Are you sure? This little one is sure. There are indeed over 1,000 pills. The mustache man said. Moreover, the price of our pills is already set at the cost price. They are actually lower than us. Humph, if Sima Lai wants to attract customers like this and doesn't care about the cost, then they won't be able to hold on for long. Second elder said. I think so too. First elder said. Killing the goose that lays the golden eggs is not a long-term plan. Then do we need to lower the price of our pills? The mustache man asked. No need. Nalan he said. They shouldn't be able to hold on for long. Wait until their pills are sold out, then we'll see if they can continue. Other than the offerings and herbs we give to Master He, we are no longer earning money. If we lower the price, it will affect the future supply. Yes, Patriarch. Nalan he touched the empty sleeve of his left hand, his face gloomy and terrifying. Although he didn't have any direct evidence, his intuition told him that the Nalan family couldn't escape from the situation at Puluo mountain range. Patriarch, the gift for His Majesty's birthday next month has already been prepared. It just arrived at the treasury today. Compared to the Sima family's matter, His Majesty Dong Chen's birthday was also one of the things they were concerned about recently. It's here? Then let's go take a look. You guys go back and continue to pay attention to the situation over there. Nalan he said to the shop owner below. Yes. Two elders, let's go take a look at the birthday gift. The news that the Sima family shop was selling pills at a low price quickly spread among the mercenaries. Many mercenaries ran over to buy them. Because the price was cheap, they were willing to buy 2 more pills than usual. Within a few days, those pills were sold out. Just as everyone was waiting for the Sima family to stop supplying pills, they suddenly released another batch with the same price. This move made the eyes of the people in the capital drop. What did this mean? It meant that the Sima family had really invited an alchemist. And from the looks of the pills they were selling, that person was at least a second-grade alchemist. This news made Nalan he shocked for a while, but it didn't hit him. He immediately sent people to investigate the suppliers of the Sima family's herbs, trying to cut off their supply of herbs. However, the news he received was that the Sima family didn't buy any herbs from anyone. Could it be that their pills fell from the sky? The second elder was puzzled, or could it be that there's a big force supporting them from behind? Nalan he shook his head. Other than the Alchemist Guild, which force has the ability to help the Sima family in such a big way? But we all know about the relationship between Sima Lai and the Alchemist Guild. It's good enough that they didn't hit them when they were down. It's absolutely impossible for them to help them. Then how do you explain the Sima family's matter? Nalan he sneered, the state banquet is coming. At that time, there will naturally be a way to make Sima Lai spit out the truth. Chapter 112. Sima Yu was in a good mood as she lay on the rocking chair and basked in the sun. Today she had just given a batch of pills to Sima Yuming and the others. From them she found out about the Nalan clan's reaction. When she saw the people who had come to inquire about the news and saw that they had taken out the second batch of pills, her heart was filled with joy. "Young master, it will be His Majesty's birthday in 2 days. Are you going?" Chun Jian asked as she poured a cup of tea for Sima Yue. Sima Yue took the teacup and thought about how Fatty Chu said that many powers would be going. She said, "Go, why wouldn't we go? I still want to see Nalan He's current appearance." "I'm afraid that the Nalan clan will find trouble with the young master," Chun Jian said. "I'm just a useless person who can't even trust a chicken. What trouble can they cause me in public?" Sima Yue said, "I'm worried that they'll cause trouble for Grandpa." This was also an important reason why she planned to go. Now that the business war between the two sides had entered a white-hot stage, with the sudden appearance of an alchemist, it was likely that Nalan He would not let go of this opportunity to cause trouble. This Nalan family is a big family with a big business, but it can't go on like this. Is there any way to kill them directly? Sima Yue pondered as she looked at the tea leaves in the teacup. "Young master, no matter what we do, we can't directly kill the Nalan family." Chun Jian heard Sima Yue's words and said, "What?" "Because the royal family doesn't allow it." Chun Jian said, "The general is in charge of the army, and although the Nalan family is only a single family to a certain extent, they balance the power of the capital. As a general he can only suppress the Nalan family, but he can't exterminate them." "Then who can destroy them?" "Your Majesty." Chun Jian said, "Only he has the authority to exterminate such a large family. At the same time only he has such strength." "Your Majesty?" Sima Yue thought of what Sima Lai had said and shook her head. That guy still wanted to use the Nalan family to restrict the Sima family. Why would he destroy them? "It's not like there's no other way. We just need to find the entry point." Chun Jian said, "I once heard from the general that His Majesty is very suspicious. If we can take advantage of this." Sima Yue's eyes lit up and she stood up from her chair. She pinched Chun Jian's face and said excitedly, "Chun Jian, you really are my little strategist. I'll go and discuss it with Grandpa." After saying that, she hurriedly ran out, leaving Chun Jian behind in a daze. "Young master. She's really different from before." 2 days later, it was the 150th birthday of the Dongqing Kingdom's emperor. The royal family held a grand banquet for him. The first prince and the third prince hosted the banquet and invited all the top powers of the kingdom to the banquet. As a general, Sima Lai had to preside over the safety and order of the banquet, so he went to the palace early in the morning. In the evening, Sima Yu, Sima Yuming and the other 3 took the beast carriage to the palace. When the beast carriage reached the entrance of the palace, it was stopped by a group of people. "What's wrong?" Sima Yuming opened the car door and asked. Sima Yue looked towards the door and saw a group of soldiers standing in front of the beast carriage, blocking their path. "So it's the eldest young master." The leader of the soldiers seemed to recognize Sima Yuming and cupped his hands, saying, "The eldest prince has ordered that in order to show his respect to the emperor, no one is allowed to take the beast carriage into the palace tonight. As such, the eldest young master and the rest of the young masters have to get off the carriage and walk into the palace." "Are the others the same?" Sima Yuchi asked. "Yes. The beast carriages are all parked there." The leader pointed to the empty space at the side. Sima Yue looked out the window and saw a few beast carriages parked there. Sima Yuming glanced at them and said, "Since that's the case, let's go down as well." The 5 of them got off the carriage and a soldier led the driver to the side to park the carriage. "Thank you for your understanding, young masters." The leader cupped his hands and thanks again. "Let's go in." Sima Yuchi patted Sima Yue who was looking around, reminding her to follow everyone and not get lost. Just as they were about to enter the palace, another 2 beast carriages were stopped. "What? They're actually letting us walk in?" The sudden increase in volume attracted the attention of the surrounding people. Even Sima Yue and the others turned around to take a look. Sima Yulu saw the symbol on the beast carriage and pursed his lips, saying, "The Alchemist Guild is really getting more and more arrogant. They really think they're so awesome. They're always awesome." Sima Yuming glared at Sima Yulu, saying, "Tonight is the emperor's birthday. We better not cause any trouble. Otherwise we'll cause trouble for grandfather." We know. Sima Yulu said while rubbing his head. Sima Yue saw a young man, a lady dressed in white, a middle-aged man and finally an old man come down from the beast carriage. The lady dressed in white seemed to be unhappy that she was stopped. Her face was so dark that it could drip water. She stepped forward and punched the leader of the guards, saying, "Don't you know whose carriage this is? You actually dare to let us walk in. Do you not want to live any more?" The leader of the guards stood up, saying, "This is the eldest prince's order. Anyone who enters the palace has to walk. I ask for Great Master Shi and President Wu's forgiveness." Did the eldest prince also say that we have to walk into the palace? The middle-aged man raised his chin, looking extremely arrogant. "Great Master Shi, the eldest prince said that everyone has to walk," the leader of the guards said. Shirley did not think that the leader of the guards would reply him in this way. His face fell, and just as he was about to rage at the leader of the guards, Sima Yue spoke up. "Oh, isn't this Great Master Shi? What are you doing here?" Shirley's rage was interrupted and he glared unhappily at the person who spoke. When he saw that it was the trash Sima Yue, his face fell even further. "Sima Yue? What are you doing here?" The young man looked at Sima Yue and narrowed his eyes. Sima Yue finally saw the young man clearly. When did Murong get together with the Alchemist Guild? She then looked at the white-clothed girl beside him. Nalan Lan was chased out of the academy, so did he change her? It's His Majesty's birthday. People like me naturally want to come and take a look. Sima Yue said, "Great Master Shi, are you saying that you have no choice but to go in? Big brother guard, why don't you take a look at whose beast carriage this is? This is the Alchemist Guild's Great Master Shi and President Wu. How can you let them get down? I know that you said that this is the eldest prince's order, but is the Alchemist Guild's position something that ordinary people can shake? Do they still need to get down and walk?" Hearing Sima Yue's words, the president and Shirley's faces changed. The gazes of the people around them also changed. If they really wanted to continue sitting in the beast carriage, then it would mean that the Alchemist Guild's position was above the eldest prince's, above the entire royal family. Chapter 113. The surrounding whispers made Wu Lin and the others feel somewhat awkward. Copy this address. Views %77%, 77%, 77%, 2E%, 62%, 69%, 71%, 69%, 2E%, 6D%, 65. Actually, if it was just the Crown Prince, the Alchemist Guild wouldn't really put him in their eyes. But now that it was pointed out in front of everyone, even if everyone felt that it was true, the Alchemist Guild still didn't dare to be so arrogant. "Let's go in." Wu Lin flung his sleeves and strode towards the palace gate without looking at the crowd. When she passed by Sima Yue, she glanced at her from the corner of her eyes. In the past, this trash was famous for being brainless. What she said just now, was it intentional or unintentional? Sima Yue smiled at him innocently. Trash still dares to show his face in public. The woman in white was very unhappy with Sima Yue. When she passed by her, she glared at her. Murong was walking with the lady in white. When he saw her panting with rage, he comforted her. Why bother with her? Upon hearing his words, Sima Yue recalled that he was the main culprit behind her death. She had almost forgotten about him after not seeing him for so long. Sneering in her heart, she raised her smiling face and shouted at him. "Murong Gongzi, how come I didn't see you and Miss Nalan Lan together today? Didn't you say that you're already at the stage where you're talking about marriage? When are you going to invite us to your wedding?" Murong's body trembled. Soon after, he saw the girl flipping out at him. After being berated by Shirley, the group continued to walk forward. When the people from the Alchemist Guild had disappeared through the palace gates, Sima Yue finally burst into laughter. "Fifth brother, you were really too amazing just now. With just a few words you made the Alchemist Guild suffer. Look at Wu Lin and Shirley. Their faces are as smelly as the stones in a cesspool." The other three brothers laughed as well, but it was not as exaggerated as Sima Yuli's. Because of Sima Lai, the relationship between the Sima family and the Alchemist Guild had always been bad. Every time they saw them they would always be mocked and ridiculed. What Sima Yue did today was indeed satisfying. "You're so naughty." Sima Yu patted Sima Yue's shoulder, saying, "Let's go in." Let's go." Sima Yue smiled. "Fifth young master, please wait." The captain stepped forward and cupped his hands towards Sima Yue. "Thank you for helping us out just now, fifth young master." Sima Yue waved her hand and said, "I didn't want to help you, I just don't like those people. There's a car coming. Go ahead. The team leader turned around and saw a beast carriage approaching. He nodded at Sima Yue and the rest and went back to his duty. Let's go in quickly. Grandfather should be waiting for us inside. Sima Yuming said. Sima Yue followed them inside. Thinking about the girl who was with Murong and just now, she asked, Big brother, do you know who the girl who was with Shirley and the others is? That's Shirley's daughter, Shiremo Li. It said that she's not even 20 years old, but is already a first-ranked alchemist. It said that she's already at the threshold of second-ranked pills. She's very talented in alchemy and is someone that the Alchemist Guild focuses on nurturing. Sima Yuran replied. TSK, look at her. She's going to be just like her father. Sima Yulu complained, and with her talent, compared to our fifth bro, she's a few hundred streets ahead. Fourth bro, don't say any more. Sima Yuming stopped Sima Yulu in case he spouted nonsense and others found out. Sima Yulu stuck out his tongue and everyone entered the palace. The palace was similar to the ancient palaces, but the decorations were much more magnificent. After looking at it for a while, Sima Yue felt that it was because there were many weird things in this world, so the decorations were special. After entering the palace, a palace maid led the way for them. Seeing that Sima Yue was looking around, she asked, Now that everyone has gone to the banquet hall, there will be a big performance after the banquet. Young master, you can look around the palace. Right now we have to go to the banquet hall. Sima Yulu patted Sima Yue's shoulder, saying, Is this fifth bro's first time in the palace? It's hard to avoid good things for the first time. The first time I came in, I was so excited. I know when you went back, you pulled my hand and sighed for half a day. Sima Yue rolled her eyes at him. Cough cough, but fifth bro, you were much calmer the first time I came in. Sima Yulu chuckled as he said. The palace maid led them to the main hall, and there were already many people inside. There were short tables on both sides of the main hall, and there were many spirit fruits on the tables as well as some snacks. Those who arrived early sat in their own seats, eating spirit fruits and chatting, building relationships with the people around them. The main hall was filled with laughter. The palace maid led them to the general's residence, saying, Young masters, this is where the general's residence is. This servant will take her leave. Sima Yue looked around and their seats were closer to the front. It seemed like the seats were arranged according to status. She didn't know if it was intentional or not, but Sima Yue and the others sat opposite the Nalan clan. It was still early and the Nalan clan had not arrived yet. They only placed the Nalan clan's table cards on the table. The Alchemist Guild seat was opposite the Nalan clan. She only saw Shiremo Li and Murongin sitting there, while Wu Lin and Shirley were nowhere to be seen. But thinking about it, those two were of noble status, how could they possibly wait here with everyone else? Seeing that Sima Yue and the others had taken their seats, Shiremo Li glared at her fiercely. It seemed like she was still holding a grudge against her for what happened at the palace gates. Sima Yue glanced at them and didn't care about their hateful gazes. She raised her head and used her little finger to cover her nose, and even pretended to dig out her boogers, flicking them in front of her. So disgusting. Shiremo Li was disgusted by Sima Yue's actions, and quickly shifted her gaze away. Chi! Sima Yue dug her left nose, and just as she was about to dig her right nose, she saw that Shiremo Li was no longer looking at her and gave up. How did this Murongin sit in the Alchemist Guild seat? Someone beside her whispered, and the content of the conversation caught her attention. She had been wondering why this Murongin was with the Alchemist Guild. Aya, don't you know? This Murongin is said to have taken Great Master Shur as his master, and is learning alchemy. Another person said, Really? How come I didn't hear that Murongin wanted to learn alchemy? That Great Master Shur's standards are too high, how could he be willing to accept him? You guys don't know about this. Another person interrupted, saying, This Murongin is now the son-in-law of the Shur clan. Look at those two, they're stuck together like glue, I'm afraid they will get married soon. Didn't they say that he and the Nalan clan's Nalan Lan are a couple? Your news is really outdated, the matter between Murongin and Nalan Lan is already a thing of the past. I don't know who arranged the seats tonight, but this Alchemist Guild is next to the Nalan clan Sima Yue glanced at the seat opposite her, wondering what kind of expression the Nalan clan's people would have when they saw Murongin. Just thinking about it made her excited. This book came from Chapter 114. Sima Yue was bored to death as she waited for the banquet to start. Since she had nothing to do, she took a spirit fruit to eat. Normally he would only eat the spirit fruits in his soul pearl. Now that he was eating this, he felt that the taste was not good at all. Hearing the people beside her exclaiming about how delicious the spirit fruit was, she suddenly felt how extravagant her life was. Actually, to other people, these spirit fruits were indeed very hard to come by. This was because in order for ordinary fruits to become spirit fruits, they had to grow in a very strict environment. They had to be in a place of outstanding talents, and they had to go through a very long period of evolution. The spirit fruit was the same as the spirit vegetables. Eating it could increase the spirit energy in one's body, so everyone wanted to get their hands on the spirit fruit. Once a spirit fruit appeared, it would soon be sold out. There was a price but no supply. Even a first-rate force might not be able to eat spirit fruits often. Ordinary people might not be able to eat more than a few spirit fruits in their lifetime, but here, there were several plates of spirit fruits on every table for the guests to eat as they pleased. The royal family is the royal family after all. They are really generous. Someone sighed. Sima Yu Ming and the others each ate a spirit fruit before putting it down. Sima Yu Lu sat beside Sima Yu Yu and leaned in front of her, saying, "It's a far cry from what you gave us." Sima Yu Yu nodded her head. This spirit fruit was indeed far inferior to the spirit fruit in the soul pearl. The spirit energy it contained was different, and the taste was also different. Ever since she discovered the spirit fruits, she would send them to Sima Yu Yu every few days. At first, they were surprised that Sima Yu Yu had so many spirit fruits, but they all knew that Sima Yu Yu was not the flesh and blood of the Sima family, so even if they knew that she had secrets, they did not probe further and just accepted the gifts. "Oh, there's going to be a good show tonight," Sima Yu Lu suddenly said. Sima Yu Yu looked up and followed his gaze. She raised her eyebrows when she saw who it was. Nalan Lan actually came. This time there would really be a good show to watch. He brought Nalan Lan and two other youngsters in. His empty sleeves swayed as he walked. "Looks like I didn't leave any traces behind last time." When Nalan Lan followed her father into the main hall, she saw Murong An's figure. At that time he was whispering to Shiramoli. Their heads were very close to each other. She didn't know what he said, but Shiramoli smiled happily. Nalan Lan's hand. She was wondering why Murong An didn't come to see her when she was injured. So it was because he was with Shiramoli? So the rumor about the two of them being together was true? Lan, pay attention to the situation. He indifferently glanced at Murong An and said to Nalan Lan, "I know, father." Nalan Lan took a deep breath and suppressed the anger in her heart. Sima Yu Yu watched as Nalan Lan and the others took their seats. She just so happened to be sitting at the side with Murong An beside her. Murong An was just coaxing Shiramoli happily when he felt someone sitting beside him. He subconsciously turned his head to take a look. When he saw a familiar figure, he was stunned. Feeling Murong An's gaze, Nalan Lan turned her head and lightly smiled. "Mr. Murong, long time no see." Cough cough. "Long time no see." Murong An was frightened by Nalan Lan's smile. He awkwardly turned his head and didn't look at her again. "Miss Nalan, long time no see." Shiramoli smiled and greeted Nalan Lan. "I heard from my father that you were seriously injured at Puluo mountain range. Are you fully recovered now?" Nalan Lan looked at Shiramoli holding Murong An's hand. Her eyes turned cold and she smiled. "Thank you for your concern, monsieur. I'm much better now. After all, our Nalan family spent so much to get the pill from your father. If it didn't work, then great Master Shi's reputation would be in vain." Shiramoli's smile froze. This Nalan Lan actually dared to say that her father was extorting people in front of everyone? She clenched her teeth and said, "It's good that you're well. Previously, I said that I would go with Murong to see you. After all, you were good friends. It's normal to be concerned. But Murong just became my father's disciple and we're preparing for the wedding. We're too busy." "You're getting married?" Nalan Lan looked at Murong An and asked. Yes. Murong An braced himself and replied. "When the time comes, send an invitation to the Nalan family. Miss Nalan, you must come." Shiramoli smiled and said. Nalan Lan's hand under the table tightly clutched onto her skirt. She put on a fake smile and said, "Does Miss Shir really think that you two can get married? What does Miss Nalan mean?" Shiramoli's face darkened. "Nothing much. I'm just a hypocrite who likes the new and hates the old. Since Miss Shir likes him, then I hope that you two can really get together." Nalan Lan finished speaking and turned her head, no longer looking at the two of them. Shiramoli saw that Nalan Lan was no longer talking to them and snorted unwillingly. Sima Yu Yu watched the good show opposite her with interest. This Nalan Lan was not easy to deal with. She did not flip out in front of everyone today because of the occasion. After a while, Shirley and Wu Lin arrived at the main hall. The representatives of the Weapon Master Guild, Beast Tamer Guild and Spirit Master Guild all entered. Looking at the situation, the banquet should be starting soon. Sima Yue looked at those people. Other than Wu Lin, the others looked relatively amiable. At this time, Sima Lai came in from outside and sat down. Sima Yue looked at him and he nodded. Seeing this, Sima Yue's lips curled into a smile. Very quickly, the Dongqin Kingdom's emperor walked in, accompanied by the first prince and the third prince. For some unknown reason, his complexion did not look too good. When he saw the people present, he forced a smile. Congratulations to your majesty on your birthday. May your majesty live a long and boundless life. Everyone present stood up to welcome him and congratulated him. Thank you everyone for coming to celebrate my birthday. Please take a seat. Wan Wu Feng waved to everyone and said, Thank you, your majesty. Everyone sat down, leaving Wu Lin standing alone. Today is your majesty's birthday. My alchemist guild has specially prepared a small gift for your majesty. I hope that your majesty will not dislike it. Hearing this, Wan Wu Feng smiled and said, What is President Wu saying? It is already very good that you are able to attend this prince's banquet. Wu Lin took out a box. An official came down from the side and took the box, handing it to Wan Wu Feng. Your majesty, this is the 4th-tier Emperor Energy Pill that I have spent half a year searching for medicinal ingredients. It is specially refined for your majesty. Wu Lin said, This pill can repair a person's body. I heard that your majesty had once suffered an injury. After that, your majesty's body has not been very good. After taking this pill, your majesty's body will be completely healed. Really? Good. Wan Wu Feng excitedly opened the box. Seeing that there was indeed a golden pill lying inside, he thought about how because of his injury, his body was left with a chronic illness. Therefore, his cultivation was always half the result with twice the effort. Seeing the Emperor Energy Pill, his excitement was beyond words. When the people below saw the pill in Wan Wu Feng's hands, they all sighed. Sima Yue curled her lips. Wasn't it just the Emperor Energy Pill? What was there to be excited about? Website. Please support this website. Chapter 115. Alright, thank you, President Wu. After Wan Wufeng finished speaking, he took the pill and swallowed it. Very quickly, he felt his body warm up, and the dull pain in the injured area was lessening. He was so happy that he nodded his head repeatedly. Wu Lin sat down and the Armament Masters Guild stood up, offering a spirit artifact to Wan Wu Feng. Although this spirit tool was rare, but to Wan Wu Feng, it was naturally not as attractive as the mighty Emperor Pill. Therefore, he only gave it a few glances before having the servant put it aside. Following that, the Beast Tamer Guild, the Spirit Beast Guild, and the various big clans gave all kinds of gifts. It was indeed an eye-opener for Sima Yue. However, there was no point in seeing too many gifts at once. This segment of gift-giving had unknowingly turned into a competition between the various major powers. Whoever gave a valuable or unique gift would gain more face. After a while, the gift-giving segment ended. The first prince clapped his hands and the palace maids came forward to take away the spirit fruits and pastries, replacing them with the main course of the banquet. Some singers and dancers came forward to perform. Banquets had always been the same since ancient times, and it was the same even in a different world. To Sima Yue, who was used to watching all kinds of galas in her past life, these programs really did not have much attraction. She gave Sima Lai a heads up and took advantage of the fact that no one was paying attention to her to quietly leave the main hall. The banquet lasted for a long time. Occasionally, some people would come out to take a breather. Sima Yue's departure did not attract anyone's attention. How boring. I wonder if I can go back earlier. Sima Yue walked alone in the palace. Seeing that the Nalan family didn't do anything, she couldn't sit still and wanted to go back. When she heard Sima Yue say that there was a man-made lake here, she followed her instincts and walked towards it. Before she reached it, she heard a dispute. She knew who it was and her heart leaped with joy. Her silhouette flashed into the fake mountain at the side. Recalling that she still had the sound stone with her, she took it out and poured her spiritual energy into it. The veined patterns on the sound stone began to move, indicating that it had begun to record the surrounding sounds. Murongen, what do you mean by this? Nalan Lan looked at Murongen with tears in her eyes. Her pitiful look made Murongen unconsciously gulp. This Nalan Lan was indeed beautiful, and indeed made people pity her. It was a pity that she was no longer of any use to him. Or rather, her use to him was far from being as useful as Shiramoli. However, who wouldn't want to take a bite of this fat meat that was delivered to their doorstep, let alone such a beautiful woman? If he could obtain the Alchemist Guild's nurturing and at the same time obtain the Nalan clan's support, then his future days would definitely be smoother. Thinking of this, his gaze returned to its previous gentleness. He took a step forward and held Nalan Lan's hand, saying, "Idiot, what do you mean by that? My heart is still with you. I'm still thinking about you." "Then what's going on between you and Shiramoli? When did you two get together? She wanted to get married? Then what is the relationship between us?" Nalan Lan also truly loved Murong, and seeing that he was still so gentle towards her, her heart softened. But when she thought of him and Shiramoli being so intimate with each other, her heart was still very angry. Murong and forcefully pulled Nalan Lan into his embrace. "She and I were just playing around." Murong and kissed Nalan Lan's forehead and said, "You also know that her father is Great Master Shirley. If I could learn alchemy from him, then my future would naturally be limitless. But you know what kind of person Shirley is. He's not easy to get along with. If there wasn't anyone to recommend him, he wouldn't even put me in his eyes. So I thought of a way to get close to her. I don't have any feelings for her. I only like you. You have to believe me." "Then when I was injured, why didn't you come to see me?" Nalan Lan heard Murong An's words and her heart believed him a little. However, she still had some resentment. "At that time I was busy dealing with Shiramoli. In order to make her believe me, I had no choice but to accompany her." Murong An said, "However, I also sent people to inquire about your situation." "Really?" Nalan Lan looked at Murong An. She already believed his words in her heart. Murong An saw her like this and knew that she already believed him. He leaned over and kissed her lips, saying, "Of course it's true. We've been together for so long, how could I like another woman? I'm only using her." "Then you shouldn't be together with her anymore," Nalan Lan said. "How can I do that?" Murong An said loudly. Soon after, he realized that his reaction was too big. He comforted her gently, "I haven't learned how to refine pills yet. If I were to fall out with Shiramoli now, then all my time would have been wasted. But I don't want to see you and Shiramoli being so close." Nalan Lan said unhappily. "Idiot, you have to remember. I'm only playing around with her. My heart only has you. There's no one else." Murong An comforted her. After he finished speaking, he leaned over and kissed her. His hands moved up and down restlessly. Sima Yue saw that the two of them seemed to be a little heated up. She guessed that she had heard enough, so she kept her sound stone and quietly left. However, after thinking about it, she couldn't let the two of them off so easily. After walking a distance, she told one of the guards that she seemed to have dropped something by the lake and asked him to help her look for it. Seeing the few guards walk towards the lake, she smiled evilly and turned around to return to the main hall. Before she reached the entrance of the main hall, she heard Nalan He's voice from inside. "Your Majesty, since the Sima family has that mysterious person, and you're not even willing to talk about it, are you not putting your Majesty in your eyes?" Sima Yue's heart sank. This Nalan He really came. Sima Lai remained silent. He thought that Nalan He would find a way to find out about the Sima family's pills, but he didn't think that he would say it in front of everyone. "General Sima, you really found such a powerful person? Since that's the case, why don't you let everyone see?" Wan Wufeng's words carried the meaning of an inquiry, but his expression and tone were completely different. It carried a sinister coldness. It's not that I don't want to say it, but that kid doesn't like to be flamboyant," Sima Lai said. "Grandfather, since everyone wants to know, why don't you tell them? Otherwise they'll think that our Sima family really has something that can't be seen." Sima Yue walked in from outside and said with a smile, "Your Majesty, actually it's not that grandfather doesn't want to say it, but this kid asked grandfather not to say it in case everyone thinks that this kid is trying to please the crowd." "Your Sima Yue?" Although Wan Wufeng had never seen her before, but she was sitting together with Sima Lai and now she was calling Sima Lai grandfather. Other than those few that he had seen before, she must be Sima Yue. But wasn't he trash? How could he be the mysterious person that Nalan He spoke of? Chapter 116. Sima Yue bowed towards Wan Wufeng and said, "This little one Sima Yue greets your Majesty. I wish your Majesty a long life." Wan Wu Feng looked at Sima Yue admitting her identity and said, "What you said just now, you're the mysterious person from the Sima family?" Your Majesty is wise. In fact, there is no mysterious person. These are just the speculations of the outside world about our family. Sima Yue smiled and said, "It's because we don't know where our pills came from, that's why we let our imagination run wild." So you're saying that the pills sold by the Sima family recently were all refined by you? Wan Wu Feng said. This little one is not talented, but under Master Feng's guidance, I learned a little alchemy. Sima Yue replied. Teacher Feng? Wan Wufeng looked at the old principal. The old principal glanced at Sima Yue and said, I'm not sure either. Teacher Feng himself is rather mysterious. He didn't tell me that he doesn't know how to refine pills, so I'm not sure either. But he does care a lot about Yue. Wan Wufeng nodded. When Feng Zhixing came to the academy, the old principal had also told him about it. He didn't mention his identity, only that he came from above. Therefore, even if it was him, he still had to give in to him. However, Sima Yue, when did you start cultivating? He didn't say that she was a good-for-nothing, but that was what he meant. Your Majesty, this kid has been cultivating for less than a year. Sima Yue said, then bowed to Shirlei. I'm sure Master Shi still remembers the time when my grandfather used 100-year-old ginseng to exchange for 2 level 3 pills from you. I don't know what happened at that time, but I was able to cultivate. Speaking of which, it's all thanks to Master Shi's pills. Otherwise I'd still be a cripple. Congratulations then. Master Shi said in a strange tone. Although he liked it when others praised the usefulness of his pills, for the Sima family that he did not get along with, it was better to have one more trash than one more spirit master. Nalan family head, do you still have any questions? Wan Wu Feng looked at Nalan He and asked. Nalan He did not expect that the mysterious alchemist of the Sima family was actually Sima Yue, which really gave him a great shock. A year ago she was still unable to cultivate, but now she was standing here as an alchemist. This made him and the others feel that it was too inconceivable. Your Majesty, as far as we know, that alchemist is a level 2 alchemist. Sima Yue was still unable to cultivate a year ago, but within a year not only did she become an alchemist, but also a level 2 alchemist. I'm sure I'm not the only one who has doubts about this. After Wan Wu Feng heard Nalan He's words, he finally remembered the impossible factor. Who could cultivate in less than a year, and even become a second-grade alchemist? Sima Yue and Nalan clan head is right. Did you really only start cultivating a year ago? Wan Wufeng asked. I'm sure everyone has heard about how I was beaten to the brink of death. If I knew how to cultivate, I'm sure I wouldn't have been beaten so badly. Sima Yue said, regarding this matter, Murong En and Nalan Lan can testify for me. After all, they saw me being beaten with their own eyes. Seeing how confident Sima Yue was, everyone believed that she did not know how to cultivate in the past. After all, it was easy to find the person involved and ask, so she could not possibly lie. When Shirmo Li heard Sima Yue mention the two of them, she realized that Murong En and Nalan Lan were not in the main hall. What you're saying is, you really went from a person who could not cultivate, to an alchemist in a year's time. Furthermore, you're a level 2 alchemist? Nalan He said. Sima Yue touched her own face and smiled narcissistically. This talent is here. I can't do anything about it. Her brothers were all amused by her appearance. Impossible. Shirlei said loudly, it's impossible for a normal person to become an alchemist without at least a few years. There's a huge gap between each level and it's extremely difficult to cross it. How could you become a level 2 alchemist in a year's time? He spent close to 10 years to become a level 2 alchemist. Until now, he was only a level 3 alchemist. If Sima Yue could become a level 2 alchemist in a year, then what was he? Sima Yue helplessly shrugged her shoulders and said, you can't do it, but that doesn't mean others can't. Shiremo Li always thought that she was a genius among geniuses for spending a few years to reach the level of a level 2 alchemist. She never thought that Sima Yue would surpass her in less than a year. She looked at Sima Yue mockingly and said, Sima Yue, since you said you're a level 2 alchemist, then do you dare to refine a level 2 pill in front of everyone? Reverse psychology? Sima Yue raised her eyebrows, but it has no effect on me. Shiremo Li saw that Sima Yue was unwilling and said, Your Majesty, just now the Nalan family head said that the Sima family's alchemist is a level 2 alchemist. Sima Yue said that person is herself, but what if she can't refine a level 2 pill? Then wouldn't the mysterious person be someone else? Aren't General Sima and the rest lying to Your Majesty? Wan Wu Feng heard this and his face darkened. Even an outsider like him knew how difficult it was to become an alchemist. To become a level 2 alchemist was even harder. Hearing what they said, it really was possible that Sima Yue was lying to him. Sima Yue, since it's like this, then refine a level 2 pill in front of everyone. It's fine if you can refine it, but if you can't or if you're not even an alchemist, then don't blame me for punishing the Sima family. There was no discussion, it was a direct order. Sima Lai wanted to open his mouth to say something, but was stopped by Sima Yue. She smiled and said, "Since everyone has their suspicions, then there's no harm in having me refine the pill. However, Your Majesty, if I can refine a level 2 pill, then shouldn't the Nalan family head apologize to me for their suspicions?" Wan Wu Feng glanced at Nalan He, and the two of them immediately replied, "If you can really refine the pill, my Nalan family will definitely apologize to you." Okay. Sima Yue said, "Grandfather, go back to your seat and watch Yue refine the pill." "Just do your best," Sima Lai said. If she succeeded, then the Sima family would be able to smoothly pass this time. If she failed, then the rest would be left to him. She didn't need any pressure, she just needed to refine the pill properly. Sima Yue understood his meaning and smiled as she nodded. "Do you need a pill furnace or something like that?" the old principal asked. "Thank you for your concern, principal. As an alchemist, I naturally carry the necessary things with me. However, Your Majesty, please allow me to find a table." After Sima Yue finished speaking, a pill furnace appeared in front of everyone. Chapter 117. Read 336. Mao San Quan and Little Seven saw Sima Yue and Sima Lu Yin leaving and walked over. Seeing Sima Yue's unstable emotions, they asked with concern, "Yu, are you all right?" Sima Yue shook her head and kept everything. "Let's go back. It's almost dawn." Mao San Quan said, "All right." When Sima Yue and the rest returned to the inn, the eastern sky was already turning bright. Mao San Quan did not return to his room. There was not much time left before he left. After Sima Yue returned, she entered the spirit pagoda and stared blankly at the things that Sima Lu Yin gave her. When Little Roar and the others saw her like this, they all looked at her from afar, but did not dare to approach. Qi Yin transformed into his human form and came to her side. "Your emotions are very unstable right now. You can't compete like this," Crimson Flame said. "I know. But I can't calm down now." Sima Yue turned around and looked at Qi Yin. "Qi Yin, how big is this world? Every time I think I know enough, I find that what I know is just the tip of the iceberg. You were injured back then and slept in the egg for so many years. Now that you've only recovered 10 to 20%, you're already so powerful. Yes, then where are you from? How powerful was the real power? Are you from this world? What was above the Imperial Emperor? Is there anyone else who can become an Imperial Emperor?" "You think too much," Crimson Flame said. "You'll know how big the world is when you grow up. Thinking too much now won't do you any good. I also know that knowing too much will affect one's Tao heart before one's cultivation level reaches that level." Sima Yue said, "But there are always so many things that I can't help but come into contact with these things. They press down on me and make me feel tired from time to time." "You just feel tired because you have too many things on your plate," Crimson Flame said. "You are still young and have too many things to do. Moreover, many things are not for someone of your age and strength to interact with. After a long time you will feel tired." It was obvious that he knew too much that he shouldn't know, which affected his Tao heart. What you need to do now is not to think about those things. Just focus on what's in front of you. Firm your Tao heart, do you understand? Otherwise you might be stuck here forever. "I understand." Sima Yue nodded. "I will adjust my mentality." "I believe you will," Crimson Flame said, "but your eyes still look tired. Why don't you not think about anything and have a good night's sleep? You can compete well tomorrow." "Let me try," Sima Yue said. She originally thought that she wouldn't be able to sleep, but she didn't expect that the moment she laid down on the bed, she would feel sleepy. She quickly fell into a deep sleep. She felt as if she had slept for as long as a century, but it also felt as if she had only slept for a short while. After waking up, she felt refreshed. Her mind seemed to have emptied and was no longer filled with all kinds of things. Qi Yin was sitting beside her. Seeing her open her eyes, he said, "Go out, everyone is waiting for you." Okay. Sima Yue sat up and hugged Qi Yin, saying, "Thank you." Qi Yin didn't push her away but patted her back gently and said, "Go." Yes, I'll definitely bring back the prize. Wait for me here. After she finished speaking, she left in a flash. Little Roar flew over and landed in Qi Yan's arms, saying, "She's much better now. You didn't waste so much energy. She just needs to relax herself." Qi Yan said, "I just let her have a good night's sleep." Sima Yue knew that this wasn't just a good night's sleep, but it allowed her to relax from the bottom of her heart. No matter how difficult the road ahead was, she could only take one step at a time. There was no shortcut. After thinking through this, she regained her previous state of mind. Things had to be solved one by one, wasn't it? When she came outside, everyone was already prepared and waiting for her to come out. Mao Sanquan knew that Sima Yue had experienced a lot of things and needed to calm down, so he didn't rush her. Seeing her come out, he said, "Let's go." Sima Yue gave them an apologetic smile and followed everyone to the plaza. When they came to the entrance, they happened to meet people from Divine Devil Valley. Sima Yue went over to greet them. "Greetings to senior uncle and senior brother." She bowed to Liang Wu Ming. "I heard that you went into closed-door cultivation. I was worried that you wouldn't be able to come out in time to participate in the competition." Ying Baichuan smiled and said, "I think you're hiding right. Senior brother is so smart." Sima Yue gave him a look. "I wanted to meet you guys that day, but you guys went to the pill subdivision. I was looked at like an idiot by a group of people, so I went into closed-door cultivation to revise my alchemy knowledge. You have to do well in this competition. You're my Divine Devil Valley's Junior Valley Master. If you get good results, my Divine Devil Valley will be proud too." Liang Wu Ming said. "I will work hard." Sima Yue said. "When are you going back to Divine Devil Valley?" Ying Baichuan asked. Sima Yue looked at Mao Sanquan and said, "After I settle the things on hand, I'll go to the valley to take a look. Before that, I have to get good results first so that I can go openly." I've talked to Mao Sanquan. He said that with your innate talent and current strength, if you want to go into closed-door cultivation in the academy, you can come to the central region to develop. I feel that you can come to the central region to cultivate properly. Liang Wu Ming said. "I'll consider it." Sima Yue replied. "Go back, they're still waiting for you." Go ahead. Sima Yue returned to the academy's team and entered the competition grounds with everyone else. "Master, when will junior brother really come to the valley?" Ying Baichuan asked as he looked at Sima Yue's back view. "I think it should be soon." Liang Wu Ming said, "He's been through more and more things now. It's more suitable for him to come to the central region. He understands this too. It's been 10 to 20 years since the people in the valley knew about him. But he hasn't gone back yet." Ying Baichuan said, "If it wasn't for the fact that the Blood Ring had decided on him, I'm afraid many people would have jumped out to cause trouble. When they see him, they won't cause trouble anymore. On the contrary, they will be happy that your martial uncle found such a good disciple." Liang Wu Ming didn't take those objections to heart. Firstly, the Blood Ring only recognized her. Secondly, her innate talent was there. Others couldn't wait to pull her away. Those old fellows in Divine Devil Valley wouldn't be so stupid to push her out. Sima Yue followed the team in, and after she went to the resting area, she started to size up the contestants this time. She realized that there were many faces that she didn't see last time. She also realized that Kang Junchul had turned into the real Kang Junchul. Jiang Junxian was gone. Chapter 118. Fatty Chu chuckled twice and said, "If you didn't have anything to do, you definitely wouldn't have attended such a boring wine party. Since you're going, you must have something to do." "Smart." Sima Yue gave him a look of approval. Fatty Chu raised his chin proudly and said, "Of course. What do you need me to do?" "It's actually very simple. Come here and I'll tell you." When Sima Yue arrived at the palace where the banquet was held, she saw that most of the younger generation had already arrived. Among the many guests, she immediately spotted Murong-en. At this moment, Murong-en was talking to Shirimo Li about something. He was probably explaining why he left earlier. Nalan Lan and another girl from the Nalan clan were not far away, holding a wine cup and chatting with someone else. She glanced at Murong-en from time to time, paying attention to their conversation. Fifth young master. Sima Yue attracted everyone's attention the moment she entered. Everyone was still not used to the fact that the former trash had suddenly become a genius. But even if he wasn't used to it, geniuses would always be praised wherever they went. Therefore, many people wanted to use this opportunity to establish a relationship with her. Sima Yue didn't have the time or energy to deal with these people, so she was indifferent to them. Soon, some people tactfully stopped bothering her. Murong and Shiremo Li and Nalan Lan naturally noticed that Sima Yue had entered, and their gazes towards her were filled with hatred. He was obviously a piece of trash. How did he become a precious alchemist? When Shiremo Li saw Sima Yue, she almost crushed the wine glass in her hand. In the past she was publicly acknowledged as a genius. She was able to touch the barrier of a second-ranked alchemist before she was 20 years old. However, now that Sima Yue appeared, she was immediately defeated. This was something that she, who was used to being revered, could not accept. At this moment, Fatty Chu suddenly said something loudly. The volume of his voice attracted the attention of everyone in the main hall. Sima Yue pretended to tug at Fatty Chu and said, "Keep your voice down. If someone hears you, we'll be in trouble." When she spoke, she even glanced over at Shiremo Li and the others, as if she was afraid that they would hear her. Shiremo Li's attention was originally attracted by Fatty Chu's exclamation. Seeing Sima Yue's gaze on her, a trace of unease surfaced in her heart. Could it be that she was speaking ill of him? As he thought about it, his legs involuntarily moved towards that direction. Fatty Chu and Sima Yue turned their backs to everyone and whispered, "Yue, did you really hear that?" "Of course, when I went out just now, I happened to see Murongen and Nalan Lan flirting by the lake, so I went over to listen for a while." Sima Yue said, "That pitiful Shiremo Li is still in the dark, being played around by Murongen." "Really? You can't speak carelessly. If Shiremo Li heard this, she would think that you're slandering Murongen." Fatty Chu said, "Of course I won't speak carelessly. At that time, I even used the soundstone to record their conversation. If you want to hear it, I'll let you hear it when the banquet ends." Sima Yue finished speaking and drank a mouthful of wine, waiting for Fatty Chu to continue. "Sima Yue, what nonsense are you spouting?" Before Fatty Chu could speak, Shiremo Li scolded them from behind. Sima Yue and Fatty Chu's bodies trembled as they slowly turned around. They laughed and said, "Shiremo Li, why are you eavesdropping on other people's conversation? What did you just say?" Shiremo Li looked coldly at the two of them. "Nothing much." Sima Yue and Fatty Chu's eyes darted around, but they did not want to speak the truth, purposely keeping her in suspense. "Hurry up and tell me, what did you just say you saw?" Shiremo Li saw that they were not speaking and shouted loudly. Her shout attracted the attention of everyone in the main hall. Thinking about how she made things difficult for Sima Yue in the main hall, everyone guessed that the two of them had gotten into an argument again. Fatty Chu looked at Sima Yue with a troubled expression and said, "Yue, why don't you just tell her, lest others think that you did something to her? If the Alchemist Guild pursues the matter, you'll be in trouble again." Hearing Fatty Chu's words, everyone guessed that Sima Yue might have done something to take revenge on Shiremo Li. Sima Yue looked at the people around her and saw that everyone's eyes were filled with emotions. She sighed and said, "You're the one who wanted me to say this, so don't blame me when the time comes." What bad things did you say about Murongen just now?" Shiremo Li said. "I just saw him whispering sweet nothings to someone else." Sima Yue said, "As a fellow alchemist, let me give you a piece of advice. This Murongen is not sincere towards you, so it's better for you to leave him as soon as possible." Sima Yue, what nonsense are you spouting? Murongen did not think that this matter would involve him as he walked over and shouted. Sima Yue shrugged her shoulders and said, "Aren't you the clearest on whether I'm spouting nonsense or not?" Shiremo Li looked at the two of them suspiciously as she thought about the time when Murongen and Nalan Lan were not around. She asked, "Murong, you really didn't do anything to let me down? Amoli, you still don't believe my words? This Sima Yue has always had improper thoughts towards me, so it's not impossible for her to break us up." Murongen did not think that Sima Yue would find out about the matter between him and Nalan Lan. He did not hesitate to use the scandal of Sima Yue chasing after him to divert everyone's attention. "Che, a person like you who is fickle and two-timing, you're not even fit to carry Yue's shoes." Fatty Chu looked at Murongen with disdain, saying, "Yu, didn't you just say that you have evidence? Take it out for everyone to see. Let's see if you are slandering him and trying to break them apart." "This." Sima Yue hesitated for a moment and said, "This isn't good, right? What's not good about it?" Fatty Chu was anxious. "This fellow is already ruining your reputation here, what are you still hesitating for? What evidence do you have?" Shiremo Li looked at Sima Yue, "You better really have evidence. If you're slandering Murongen, then don't blame the Alchemist Guild for rejecting you outside the door." "Threat?" Sima Yue raised her eyebrows. Alright, although I don't have any thoughts about joining the Alchemist Guild in the future, with so many people watching, I can't bear the burden of being slandered. Shiramoli, I hope you don't regret this. After she finished speaking, she took out the sound stone and inserted spiritual energy into it. The sound stone's veined patterns began to move and a conversation was played out. It was the conversation between Murong-en and Nalan Lan at the lakeside. Hearing this conversation, everyone present was stunned. Shiramoli did not dare to believe it at first, but after that she became extremely angry. She turned around and looked at the ashen-faced Murong-en and slapped him. Acting according to the situation, you're indeed a good actor. Lowly thing. Chapter 119. When Nalan Lan heard the conversation from the sound stone, she was secretly delighted in her heart. This way it would be impossible for Murong-en to be together with Shiramoli. She did not expect that in the blink of an eye Shiramoli would give him a slap. She hurriedly walked over, pulled Murong-en over and shouted at Shiramoli, "Why did you hit him?" Shiramoli snorted coldly and said, "Not only will I hit him, I'll also hit you." As she spoke, she slapped Nalan Lan. Nalan Lan wasn't a weakling either. Seeing Shiramoli's attack, she stretched out her hand to block it, but was pulled back by Murong-en. Nalan Lan, stop messing around. Nalan Lan's hand was held, but Shiramoli's wasn't, so, pa! 5 finger marks immediately appeared on Nalan Lan's face. Nalan Lan was stunned by this slap. She blankly turned her head and looked at Murong-en. "Why are you pulling me?" Right now, Murong-en did not have the time to care about Nalan Lan. He let go of her hand, walked in front of Shiramoli and said, "Emoli, don't believe those words. She was the one who was pestering me and even seducing me. In order to deal with her, I said those words. You have to believe me." In front of everyone's eyes, Nalan Lan couldn't believe her ears. She covered her face and took a few steps back. What did you say?" Murong-en glared at her and said, "I stopped liking you a long time ago. It was always you who kept pestering me. Weren't you the one who kept pestering me to go to the lakeside?" "Murong-en, you bastard." Nalan Lan was provoked by Murong-en's words and scolded loudly. Tears of grievance flowed down her cheeks. "Emoli, you have to believe me. I really only like you." Murong-en ignored Nalan Lan and only focused on explaining to Shiramoli. The Nalan family and the Alchemist Guild simply couldn't be compared, so he couldn't throw away Shiramoli's thigh. How come your voice doesn't sound like you're being forced at all? It sounds like you're enjoying it." Fatty Chu suddenly interjected. Everyone else nodded. They didn't hear the impatience and coercion in his voice. It sounded like he was the one who took the initiative. Shiramoli did not say anything. She only stared coldly at Murong-en and Nalan Lan. Seeing that Murong-en had reached out to grab her hand, she forcefully flung it away and coldly said, "Murong-en, we're finished. I can't afford to have a husband like you, and my father can't afford to have a disciple like you." After saying that, she turned around and ran out. Jasmine. Murong-en wanted to chase after them but was stopped by Nalan Lan. "Murong-en, if you chase after me today, I will cut all ties with you." Murong-en turned around and glanced at Nalan Lan before he ran out without hesitation. Nalan Lan didn't think that Murong-en would run out without thinking. She was stunned for a moment before she suddenly smiled foolishly. "Murong-en, you win. I will definitely make you regret this. Let's go." The girl who came with Nalan Lan didn't dare to say a word as she followed her and left. When they left the main hall, Nalan Lan seemed to have just remembered the main culprit. She turned around and fiercely glared at Sima Yue. The hatred in her eyes was so thick that it seemed like it could melt into water. Sima Yue smiled at Nalan Lan with an, "I'm actually doing this for your own good" look. She was so angry that she turned around and left. Now that the main characters had left, Fatty Chu waved at everyone and said, all right. The good show has ended. Let's eat and drink." Wan Baichuan left for a while. When he returned, he realized that the atmosphere wasn't right. He called the palace maids over and asked them. Only then did he know that such a big thing had happened. Looking at the 2 people drinking alone in the corner of the main hall, he didn't believe that it was unintentional. However, Sima Yue was now a pill master. Even if it was him, he couldn't casually question her. In the end, he could only sigh and let them be. After staying at the banquet for a while, Sima Yue and Fatty Chu went to find Wan Baichuan to tell him that they wanted to go back. Wan Baichuan politely said a few words and let them leave. After leaving the palace, Sima Yue and Fatty Chu then laughed out loud. After holding it in for an entire night, they were really suffocated to death. Yue, did you see Murong An's expression at that time? His face turned green. Haha, I'm dying of laughter. Sima Yue laughed and said, after being blacklisted by the two big powers, you can imagine how Murong An's days will be. Right, this Murong An really isn't a good thing. He deserves to have this kind of ending. Fatty Chu nodded, but Yue, why did you think of such a scheme? What? Sima Yue looked at the full moon in the sky and muttered in her heart. She was just fulfilling the promise she made to the original owner. The matter that happened at the banquet spread throughout the capital the next day. After Shirley and Naylan he heard their daughter's cries. They indeed blacklisted Murong and Naylan. He ordered that all the shops under the Naylan family's name were prohibited from entering the Murong family and stopped all transactions with them. Shirley was even more ruthless. He directly ordered the Alchemist Guild to stop supplying them with pills and not sell any pills to them in the future. When the Murong family heard about the sanctions imposed on them by the two big powers, they were stunned. Later on, they heard that it was because of Murong An's matter that was exposed and he was severely punished. In order to appease their anger and obtain the forgiveness of the Alchemist Guild and Naylan family, he was expelled from the Capital Institute and was sent to a small place to manage the family business. Only then did the two big powers retract their sanctions on the Murong family. When she received this news, Sima Yue was sunbathing in the courtyard and eating spirit fruits. Thinking that Murong An would not be able to make a comeback in this lifetime, she was in a good mood. Does this count as me giving you an explanation? A light breeze blew past as if giving her a faint reply. She leaned against the chaise lounge and closed her eyes with a face full of enjoyment. Chun Jian walked over and saw the tranquil aura emitting from her body. Looking at her beautiful face, she was stunned for a moment. What's the matter? When Chun Jian walked in, she felt it and saw that she did not speak, so she asked. Chun Jian came back to her senses and said, Young master, the general sent someone to invite you over. Grandfather is back? I know, you can leave. Chun Jian bowed and left the courtyard. Sima Yue finished the spirit fruit in her hand before getting up and walking towards Sima Lai's study. Ever since they returned from the banquet, Sima Lai left early and returned late every day. Sima Yue had not seen him yet. She did not expect him to return so early today. But why did he call her over? When she arrived at Sima Lai's courtyard, the guards all bowed to her. She pushed open the door to the study and saw Sima Lai in a daze. Grandfather, you were looking for me? Sima Lai came back to his senses and waved at Sima Yue saying, Yue, you're here. Come and sit. Sima Yue walked over and saw Sima Lai's restless expression, saying, Grandfather, did something happen? You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.